You're ready to put a stop to your ED? Call us in the next 2 minutes and you'll receive a consultation, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound free. Plus, a special gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. Trust me. This is a $600 value. Free to callers now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, get rid of your ED and get that spark back. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
It's that time of year again as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the #1 source for sports betting needs and info. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN,
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
a Cromwell media station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5. The game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live today. New Heights Brewing downtown. Can we get a shout out for New Heights Brewing?
Shout out to New Heights Brewing.
In the house, that's right. So we got all the basketball games on right here. Tennessee, and I told Caroline before we went on today, I think Tennessee is going to win 77-50 against Longwood, which says more about how I feel about Longwood than it does about Tennessee, but that's okay.
You're just a Vols hater.
So I just said they're going to win 77-50.
But not because of anything that they do.
30
because they're playing
points.
Because they're playing Longwood.
Longwood. Now, I have something I've got to ask of every single person who cares about March Madness, because I got some Titan football stuff we got to get into and everything else, and we'll keep you updated on the games. But this is for everybody out there. This is very important for everybody to hear about the NCAA tournament. Who did a bracket? Did everybody do a bracket? Make some noise if you did a bracket. Okay, all right. Caroline did a bracket. Did you do your bracket this morning?
I did do my bracket this morning.
Okay, I did my bracket this morning. Let me tell everybody out there, nobody cares about your bracket. So what's going to happen over the next week and a half is people are going to be like, so I'll tell you what, I had so-and-so in my bracket, and they were going to the Sweet 16. I picked them that they were going to win, and I got to tell you something. Nobody cares. It's just like
do not care.
We do not care. It's just like fantasy football. Nobody cares about your fantasy football team. Now, let me tell you about my bracket, because today I picked Colorado State to go to the Sweet 16.
I'll tell you what.
And they've been gone.
I will tell you what.
For they were the first team knocked out of the tournament.
We do not care.
They do not care?
We do not care.
Nobody cares about your bracket. That I got to start with. Tennessee's up 10-7 on Longwood. Memphis, hey, shout out to Penny, by the way, because I was a Penny hater, but shout out to Penny Hardaway at Memphis because they're up 40-25 on Boise State. So Penny went from people wanting him fired to now they're going to be in the second round of the tournament. Good for him. And
I did have Boise State beating Memphis today.
I'm going to ignore that comment because it's a bracket comment. And then What do we have over here? This game's a replay of the Colorado State game where I had them in my bracket.
I will ignore that as well. Yeah.
So, something I cannot ignore that I've got to get off my chest. Like, this is a big deal to me. The Tennessee Titans have done absolutely nothing as far as free agency is concerned. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Because if somebody is a diehard Titan fan, we got a guy over here who loves the Colts.
Is that Ben? Are you Indy Ben?
Hey, we'll see. Baker Mayfield might be the next quarterback of the Colts. We'll see. But if you look around, the salary cap, I woke up this morning and I turned on the TV and they were talking about the Desean Watson sweepstakes and they were saying, Atlanta is in the mix. And I'm thinking to myself, and they're like, they're talking to Mike Tannenbaum, who's a general manager, former general manager, and they're talking about, what about the salary cap and the dead money and the $55 million? And they were like, apparently Arthur Blank is okay with it. Remember, what's the key here? The owner. Because who writes the check, the $55 million dead money that, they're talking about on TV of, oh, my God, this dead money. Who writes the check?
The owner.
The owner. So the Titans have done nothing. You take the bad teams. The bad teams always go out in free agency and spend a bunch. So when Jacksonville goes out and adds 15 people at $100 billion a pop, we all sit there and say, well, it's Jacksonville. They stink. They do this every other year. And then they end up cutting all these players anyways because they're not any good and they lose all these games. And that's true. So we can dismiss the bad teams, even though the Jets and Jacksonville and all them are spending. And the problem for me, though, is the good teams are spending money too. The Bills. The Bills had to release people in order to get under the cap.
Air quote cap.
They had to release people to get under the cap. And so Buffalo goes out and does that. And then all of a sudden, once they get under the
cap,
once they get under the cap, Buffalo is now adding Roger Saffold, a Pro Bowl guard. They've added Von Miller. They've added O.J. Howard. So they're making additions in Buffalo. Kansas City, who keeps everybody at $100 billion a contract, just went out and added a safety who's younger and better and more expensive than Honey Badger. So they're getting better. The Cincinnati Bengals, one of the cheapest organizations maybe in the history of pro sports, with maybe one of the worst owners. The Cincinnati Bengals have added 2 high-priced offensive guards. And what are the Titans doing? The Titans have done nothing. So here's what I welcome. I welcome every theory that any fan may have. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. I welcome any theory that any fan may have as to why the Titans are doing absolutely nothing. And I think every theory is valid except for one theory. You want to know what theory it is I'm going to rule out?
Cap?
The cap. Forget about the cap. It doesn't matter. Desean Watson, I heard people talking about Desean Watson today. They're saying that it's down to Carolina it's down to Atlanta and New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't see a report that said that Carolina's out. I did see a report that said that the Browns are out. Mm-hmm. But I don't know who's saying Carolina's out other than the assumption that, why would Desean Watson ever want to go to Carolina, which I still haven't totally figured out. But I say this because I really feel like the Saints today made a couple of moves, and now they're $30 million under the salary cap. So a team that 2 weeks ago was $70 million over the salary cap is now $30 million under the salary cap. That is a swing of $100 million, and they didn't release a single player. That cap's not real. So that's the one thing that it can't be. It can't be that the Titans are up against the salary cap and they don't have any move to wiggle around, and they can't take some money over here and put it over there, and they can't sign a guy to something that they did last year and move it there and do this and do that. There's no way. So other than that, everybody's theories are welcome because the Titans right now have no right tackle. They released Julio Jones yesterday. They have no second wide receiver. They have no tight end. They have no left guard. They have no field goal kicker. They have no kick returner. I mean, they just don't have an offense. I mean, right now, if you look at the Titans, they have an injury liability at left tackle, no left guard, an old center. They have a right guard, a legitimate right guard, no right tackle, an injury liability at wide receiver, an injury liability at running back, and a quarterback who 70% of the city kind of knows deep down inside may not be good enough. What? Like, what are we doing here? So I am willing to take anybody's theory today about why the Titans are sitting here. I mean, yesterday, was it just me, or did it feel like every tight end yesterday signed?
It kind of felt like it.
The Jets, who stink. Like, every year the Jets stink. Every year they make bad decisions. They have 2 tight ends. They got C.J. Uzomah from the Bengals, and I'm not a huge C.J. Uzomah fan, but he is a starting tight end in the NFL. And they got Tyler Conklin from the Vikings. And again, I don't really know much about Tyler Conklin, but he would have been the best tight end on the Titans. So, I mean, somebody help me out here. What is going on with the Titans? And I have told you my theory. And my theory is not changing. Because, I mean, I've had people that have told me, like, hey, I think that might be a little crazy. I mean, I think Amy Adams-Strunk has given John Robinson a budget every year, and it has nothing to do with the cap. Remember Joe yesterday talking about Vin Marino's the one who manages the cap. Vin Marino is not the CFO of the Tennessee Titans. They actually do have a CFO. And I think that there's a budget that the Titans are operating under, and I wonder if they borrowed some money from last year's budget in order to trade for Julio Jones and upfront him the money and upfront Ryan Tannehill the money. And so they borrowed from the next year's budget. And then I wonder if they're borrowing some from this year's budget to go into next year's actual cash budget in order to give A.J. Brown a huge check, and perhaps Jeffrey Simmons a huge check, and perhaps David Long a huge check, and perhaps Amani Hooker a check, and so that they're preparing for all of that. Another theory I had is that the Titans are trying to be the Patriots, which the Patriots love doing this. Like, the Patriots love sitting there and kicking the tires on guys and then waiting until the end of free agency and then signing only the guys who are left to the bare minimum deals, which I would be fine with under one circumstance: if Tom Brady was the quarterback. Because the Patriots got away with doing that for forever, and it worked.
Because you have the best quarterback of all time.
Because Tom Brady was the quarterback. This guy, no disrespect to Ryan Tannehill, which we have done plenty of on this show, this guy is not Tom Brady. And then the other theory I have is I wonder if the Titans feel about Tannehill the way I feel, which is that they do not trust him. That they look at him and they know no matter how much money we spend on this team, no matter what guys we go out and sign, that Tannehill will not be good enough to put this team over the top. So save the resources, save the actual cash money, make it perhaps easier for you, though you know I don't believe in the salary cap, make it easier for you on the salary cap to do whatever you want to do, and gear up for next year. Because the Buffalo Bills, they look like a team that thinks they're good, they're going to try to win the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs, they look like a team that thinks they're good, they're going to try to win the Super Bowl. The LA Chargers, they look like a team that thinks they're good, they're going to try to win the Super Bowl. The Indianapolis Colts, they just went out and traded for Yannick Ngakoue. They're going to go get a quarterback. They're going to get, it's either Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, one of these guys, they're going to get a quarterback. And the Colts, for years, have sat on a giant pile of cap money that, again, doesn't matter, but for years, and they've never spent it. And I wonder if maybe Irsay doesn't like spending all the money. I don't know. But the truth is they're doing more than the Titans. So that's how we're starting the show today. 615-737-1025. I'm putting all everybody's theory is valid about why the Titans don't have a tight end, don't have a second receiver, don't have a slot receiver, don't have a left guard, have all injury question marks on offense, including A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, which I hate to say it, don't have a backup running back. They didn't upgrade a backup quarterback. They got the same guy there. And everything else. I am open to every theory. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to get in, 615-737-1025. Ian, do we need to tell people about any of our great friends this segment? Okay, so we'll take your phones, your reaction on it. TD will be here in an hour. We'll ask TD the same question. I'm sure TD will have a pretty good answer, so we'll get his thoughts on it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, Tennessee, not looking good for my 27-point victory that I was picking earlier as far as Tennessee's concerned is they're up 17-15 on Longwood. And Memphis is crushing Boise State, and I think we're in between games over on this TV. But we're at New Heights Brewing out here downtown. Once again, a shout out to New Heights Brewing for having us out here. And if I could, let's hear it right here for New Heights Brewing. Thank you for having. And if I could have a couple of pops right now, I probably would. Even though I'm not like a huge beer guy, I probably would. For some reason, that Space Cadet looks like it might be okay. So I might have to,
Do you just like the font that it's written in?
I do like the font
it's a fun font.
It is a fun font.
Yeah.
So, anywho, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Get your thoughts in. And also want to give a shout out to one of our friends here. We'll do that on the other side. 615-737-1025. And on the other side, this question. Is it crazy to think that this is proof that the Titans don't believe in Tannehill? That's next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Nashville's own Jason Fitz with Jarrett Stillman and Company. Fitz started his sports talk career right here on 102.5 The Game, and now he anchors shows for ESPN. Jason Fitz is brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood. Give local. Give life.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Hey, it's me, Chase McCabe, and listen, you know that I love BetMGM. I use it all the time, and I talk about it all the time. They are the king of sportsbooks, and they unleash the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. If you're planning a trip to Vegas, like I am, you can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today and get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
It was just so sparkly and just white. It's just the purest diamond.
That's Mallory Irvin, Miss America runner-up and 3-time contestant on The Amazing Race, talking about her ring from Genesis Diamonds.
It's my favorite thing I've ever owned in my life, and probably my favorite thing I ever will own unless I get another ring from Genesis.
Mallory has a stunning GIA-certified diamond in a setting that Genesis custom designed just for her.
It was a personalized experience, and they really went above and beyond to make what we wanted to work.
At Genesis, unique rings are our specialty.
What's really awesome about Genesis, I think a lot of girls look at other girls' rings a lot, and you don't want the same ring as the girl sitting beside on an airplane or something. It's really awesome because Genesis has the designers I feel that women want.
Names like Henry Dossi, Viraggio, Tocori, and dozens more.
So you don't get that cookie cutter kind of chain store. My ring is beautiful, but it looks like everyone else's. You get an engagement ring that's one of a kind.
Genesis diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
I highly recommend Genesis.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
They're going to be our jewelers for life.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. So you need to change your oil. Right now you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Daily Protection or Valvoline Max Life High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP oil filter, plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter for just $36.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Ryan Tannehill's been doing a really good job for you guys, resurrected his career in Tennessee. I mean, just talk about maybe the job he has done being the leader of that football team.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's, once we kind of handed the reins over to him, I think it was in 2019, his leadership has shown on the field with his communication with the receivers. He's well respected in the locker room. He's a leader in the locker room, and he's made a bunch of really good football plays for us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, last year there came down a couple plays we didn't make at the end. And that's football. You
Right.
go around the league in the playoffs, and there are a lot of teams that weren't playing in that final game with good players that just didn't make enough plays in their games to propel their team. And we were one of those teams. And I know he's diligent. He's compassionate about the football team, and he's working hard to get us back to where we want to be.
There you go, John Robinson talking at the Combine about Ryan Tannehill. Now, I think we've been talking about this for a while as we're live today at New Heights Brewing Company. I think we've been talking about this for a while, and it's the idea that, they've been pumping up Tannehill's tires more than what they actually think of Tannehill. I think we can all agree with that, right?
Probably so, yes.
Okay, so they've been pumping up Tannehill's
Or
tires.
they're not watching the same games we're watching.
Sure. I wonder, I saw a quote that they were taking from the general manager of the Bills, Brandon Beane, who, by the way, is a great general manager. And they were taking a quote from Brandon Beane about how when you have Josh Allen, it changes how you attack free agency and how guys want to go there and what you're looking for. And I forget exactly what the quote was, but it basically was like, we have Josh Allen. And I was thinking about this yesterday. The Titans, since John Robinson has been the general manager, the Titans have been fairly aggressive in free agency. I mean, they haven't been, over the top sometimes. They've gone out and gotten guys. They've released guys who weren't carrying their weight. They've done what you would expect teams to do. This year, they are totally removed from doing anything. And maybe it's because they just don't think it's worth it with Tannehill at quarterback. Maybe they don't look at themselves. I said last week that the season was over. The idea of competing for the Super Bowl was over. And people got mad. But then again, people do get mad when I say things like that.
That's true.
And I still believe it that you can't win a Super Bowl with Tannehill at quarterback. Maybe they think that too. So they're just going to say, you know what, we're just going to roll with it. Because as much as I want to bag on Tannehill, if you don't put a tight end out there for him and you don't give him a right tackle and you don't give him another receiver, he's going to stink. And everybody out there who will say, well, Jared, they're going to figure this out, the draft. They'll figure this out in the draft. How are you going to figure out all these positions in the draft? You don't have 10 picks. And even if you did have 10 picks, they're not going to be 10 second-round, first-round picks. And then the other thing, too, is I can't trust the Titans are actually going to fill all their problems because last year the Titans didn't do it. They went into the season with no tight end. They went into the season with no right tackle. And so there's a level of anxiousness here that's trying to figure out why the Titans are doing this. And maybe they just don't believe in Tannehill.
And that was something that I thought as soon as I saw the Von Miller news that he was going to Buffalo. I thought in my head, they're doing that. They're signing him to this 6-year, $120 million deal because the Buffalo Bills know that they are in a Super Bowl window.
Well, 6 years, but it's really like a 2-year-ish. But
that's the deal.
But
it's 6 years, $120 million.
It's some money.
It's some money, and he's probably not going to see all of it, and he's not going to live out that 6-year contract.
But he's going to get paid.
That aside, the Buffalo Bills are willing to make deals like that because they understand that they're in a Super Bowl window.
Not only that, they've got Josh Allen, and they're trying to get a new stadium. And I think it's harder to get a new stadium there than it's probably going to be to get a new stadium here. But the Titans are trying to get a new stadium too. And I think it's going to get contentious with the Titans and the city at some point. Right now, everybody's playing nice. But I think it might get contentious at some point as far as the stadium's concerned. And it wouldn't surprise me if Buffalo's trying to go all in because if they can win a couple of Super Bowls and something gets put to a public vote or something like that, then Buffalo might, if they've won a couple Super Bowls, those fans are definitely going to be like, build the stadium, keep the Bills, everything else.
Well, and that's what I thought. If the Buffalo Bills do understand that they're in a Super Bowl window and they're willing to go out there and make moves like that, why aren't the Titans willing to go out and make moves like that?
So what's your theory?
Is it because
what's
they
your
don't
theory?
I think that they don't see themselves in a Super Bowl window, and they don't want to invest more money in a team that they don't think is going to win the Super Bowl. You don't put brand new rims on a car that's going to break down in a couple weeks.
Feisty. That's a hot take.
It's a theory. Doesn't mean it's true.
Everybody's entitled to their theory.
But if the powers that be and the check writers see that this isn't a team that's equipped to win the Super Bowl, whether that's Ryan Tannehill or not, why invest a ton of money into it? When you know that you've got a lot of checks to sign coming down the pipe, when you know that next draft class could be a better quarterback class, or if the quarterback that they may or may not draft this year could be the future of your franchise, then invest then.
Ian, what's your theory?
I don't know. I think my theory tends to be more on saving some money for their own players, specifically A.J. Brown, Simmons, maybe David Long Jr. I think that's – and then maybe some type of offensive lineman in the future. They're going to need one more legit stud offensive lineman, especially in the tackle position, because Lewan is probably good for another year or two, but they're going to have to start looking more long-term on that position as well.
But all those things you're talking about are next year problems.
Yeah.
So,
but, I mean, you're going to have
money.
have some type of –
So when you say money, do you mean cap money or do you mean money?
I mean money. Money.
Ian?
I'll probably both, but mostly, I mean, I guess I'm referring to mostly not being able to carry over some room without having to go berserk.
I just can't, and I hear you. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but if your point is that the Titans are looking towards all those guys they're going to have to add, right? Like, they're going to have to eventually sign Simmons, so they're going to have money there. They're going to have to sign Brown, so they're going to have money there. They're going to have to sign Long, so they're going to have money there. They're going to have to, and so they're not going to go get a tight end. Like, that goes right back to Caroline's point, which is they don't think they can win the Super Bowl this year. And I think we know Tannehill.
You're definitely not going to win the Super Bowl with Jeff Swaim as your tight end one.
Like, Tannehill's on the hot seat this year, right?
Yes.
Like, he's gone if he stinks it up this year. If this year is a repeat of last year, he's out of here.
Probably, but we don't know that.
No guarantee of that.
Yeah.
Well, if Tannehill's not here, then you got enough money to do whatever you want, right? Like, then
cap money or money money?
Both for next year. You got enough money to do whatever you want if you're not paying a quarterback. And so I'm open to all theories. I think I like Caroline's theory here more, which is that they just don't think they can win the Super Bowl this year. That's what it's got to be. Now, they're not going to say it.
No. They would never say that.
But I think, like, as much as we talk about Amy Adams Strunk writing all these checks and getting sick about the idea that she's writing all these checks, and then they're not working, the Julio Jones thing or whatever, like,
but
at the end of the day, she extended the general manager. So if she extended the general manager, then she obviously doesn't think he's doing a terrible job. So then why aren't they spending any money?
Well, to the team, their perspective is they were 12-5, the number one seed.
Yeah.
Bye
and guess
week.
what?
I know it didn't work out in the playoffs,
Bills.
but to them it was still just one game, and you never know.
Okay, but you don't think the Buffalo Bills are looking at that saying, hey, we were in the divisional round of the playoffs. We're the number 2 seed 2 years in a row. We got a young stud quarterback. I mean, if they play that game with Kansas City 10 times, I think Buffalo wins 6 or 7 times. And they just lost that one day. And if Buffalo wins that game, I think Buffalo probably wins the Super Bowl. And so you can talk yourself into that. But Buffalo's not sitting on their asses. I mean, Buffalo is trying to go win the Super Bowl. And
it's a team that could win the Super Bowl.
And Kansas City's trying to win the Super Bowl. And it's funny because, one of the people here at New Heights Brewing, shout out to them for having us out here, but someone here's a Colts fan. And they were talking about, the Colts have these problems. And I said to the Colts fan, I was like, I'm not really worried about the Colts. Like, I'm worried about Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore. I would have been worried about Cleveland if they had gotten Desean, the Chargers, the
Cincinnati.
Raiders, the Broncos, and the Bengals. Like, every team that might be good in the AFC. So we'll get to your thoughts on it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. Another tight end is off the board, and this one can really hurt if you think about it. That's next. Stillman & Company, live from New Heights Brewing. Hey, by the way, shout out to Best Way Rental in Madison for donating the massive televisions that are outside on site so people can be watching all these NCAA tournament games, and to local distro for all the food, and Tap Truck Nashville as well. So come on out and try one of their beers out here at New Heights Brewing, Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Jump in the mind of an NHL veteran as Predators analyst Hal Gill joins Stillman & Company Tuesday afternoons at 5:30.
Here they are in a pressure situation every night because they need 2 points.
And Robby and Rexrode Thursday mornings at 9:30.
Goaltending, I think it might be an issue at some point.
Presented by Duncan on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it. But in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
Your home value is way up. You can use that money now to pay off credit cards or remodel your house, or both. Hey, Willie Donner for Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto can convert that home equity into cash as little as 2 weeks from now with no cost to you and zero hassle. Mike and Joan in Brentwood called Loan Pronto and they did a Loan Pronto zero cost cash out refi. They got a check for $100 bath and kitchen. They locked in a new APR in the 2s and lowered their total monthly bills by hundreds of dollars. Hello? What are you waiting on? Call Loan Pronto now and convert your home value into cash. Put that money to good use. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780 or lowpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Attention veterans of Middle Tennessee. Little Guys Movers wants to put your hard-earned skills and leadership talent to work with your very own Little Guys Movers franchise. Be your own boss and build a team with standards as high as your own, and all while serving your community with the same hustle that you served your country. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Start a fulfilling, profitable new chapter of your life as a member of a team with 30-plus years of growth and good times at littleguysfranchise.com. That's littleguysfranchise.com.
Hey, Robby Stanley here to tell you can start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you got to do is place your first bet of $5 or more, and how you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, and so much more. So maybe you like the Vols as a 3 seed or Kentucky as a number 2 seed. I think the Vols have what it takes to get to a Final Four, but you take it any way you want to take it. It's the best time of year, plus with cash out the balls in your court, so you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. So join FanDuel today with promo code ROB. Then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. Once again, that promo code is ROB, exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe.
Eesh.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors, with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day,
and dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, it's Mike Greenberg, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company live out at New Heights Brewery out here downtown. Come on out. We'll be here until 5 o'clock today, and we'll be here until 6 o'clock tomorrow. And I have heard a rumor that Caroline Fenton will be taking pictures after both shows. So get the line out the door for everybody to come.
Pictures
and
are free, but autographs, I do accept Venmo.
A meet and greet with Caroline Fenton out here at New Heights Brewing.
I also
Tennessee,
heard
by
that
the way.
you were shotgunning a beer after the show.
I
Thank you for
have
doing
not
that
agreed
for
to that.
everyone. It's for charity. It's for the kids.
Be
Thanks for doing
checking in
that.
on that one. Tennessee right now beating Longwood 41-29, so my 77-50 is now kind of, there. So, and I want to give a shout out, by the way, to Wager, the gambling company. They're out here. Sign up for Wager. You bet with the community, not against the house. But, tight end. We all said after Jonnu Smith left that the Titans were going to have to sign another tight end. They didn't. Then they went into the draft, and we said they were going to have to draft a tight end. Then they didn't. So then they went into the season with no tight end, and they told us that Anthony Ferkser was a number one tight end. He wasn't. Tannehill's numbers suffered. We took every call and every text, and I thought to myself, you know what? Everybody was like, it's Jonnu Smith not being here. That's the problem. They don't have a tight end. So I figured for sure they'd go get a tight end. They haven't. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills yesterday added O.J. Howard. And just now, the Cincinnati Bengals added Hayden Hurst. Now, Hayden Hurst, this one definitely hurts. Former starter, first-round pick out of Baltimore. Got traded to Atlanta. Now, he didn't play like a first-round pick, but he got traded to Atlanta. He was the backup tight end behind Kyle Pitts last year. He obviously knows your offense because he played with Atlanta. And I just looked online. Everybody is saying that he signed a one-year deal with the Bengals per his agent. And they don't tell you how much money it's worth. Now, I have to believe that the agent knows how much money Hayden Hurst signed for. So if the agent isn't telling anybody how much he signed for,
It's probably not a lot of money.
Probably because it's really not anything. And so this is a guy that could start at tight end, knows your offense, is getting no money from the cheapest organization in the NFL. And the Titans still don't have a tight end. The Jets, meanwhile, and I got criticized yesterday by the local water carrier for the Titans, in which
I did see that.
I said that the Jets have two tight ends. The Titans have no tight ends. So even the crap-ass Jets have two tight ends. And the Titans, what's funny is people get on me. And they're like, the Titans, look at what you did by fracturing the fan base in the Tannehill thing. And people get on me. Or you started these Aaron Rodgers rumors. And look at, what are you doing to my job? Can I ask the Titans a question? What are you doing to my job by not getting a tight end so that every 5 minutes I have to read some text from somebody about how it's the fact that they don't have Jonnu Smith here's fault? Now, maybe they're going to do what I suggested last week and this week, which is at the end of the day, work out a trade with the Patriots, figure out the money however you want because it doesn't matter. But as of right now, we have no indication that that's what they're going to do. So another tight end off the board. Everybody else is getting better. You're getting Jamarco Jones. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. Ian, who's reporting this?
Tom Pelissero, NFL Network.
Baker Mayfield has requested a trade. Is that a surprise to
That's
anybody?
not a surprise, but
he said goodbye 2 days ago.
But this is so much more substantial than, a written statement on Twitter.
Is it?
Yeah. You just ask for a trade. I mean, we probably could all see this happening.
I mean, I thought when the
a
Desean
not goodbye,
thing came
goodbye
out,
to Cleveland on Twitter
when the
is one thing.
When the Desean thing came out, though, it was like Baker's response was like, a middle finger to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like not the city, but the team. And if he's going to middle finger him 2 days ago, you don't think he's going to ask for a trade, especially when their stock is down because now
this is
Desean
something
doesn't wanna go
actually
there.
substantial that's happening. I mean, you can write a goodbye on Twitter all you want, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be quarterbacking the Browns in the fall.
Yeah, but this doesn't mean he's not going to be quarterbacking the Browns in the fall.
But this is actually substantial. This is him actually asking for a trade. You can post whatever you want on Twitter. I can say I'm a fairy unicorn on Twitter, but that doesn't make me a fairy unicorn.
Sure, but you can ask for whatever you want. You ask for $100 billion. That doesn't mean they're going to give it to you.
Yeah, but that means that I'm actively asking for $100 billion.
Well, but he was actively saying goodbye 2 days ago.
The answer is no if you don't ask.
Well,
and he's asking.
They're probably going to say no.
We have a little bit more breaking news.
Allen Robinson to the Rams. Do we know how much money, Ian?
No, not yet.
So the Rams, who have no cap money because remember the cap, dude, God forbid. The Rams have no cap money because they went for it this year. They just signed a wide receiver. The Titans are just sitting on their rear ends. I got to tell you.
30 fully guaranteed.
30 fully guaranteed?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
3 years, 46.5, 30.7 fully guaranteed.
You know what? Like if I was a program director, I might fire Joe Rexrode right now because his insistence that the salary cap is like a big deal. Like the local media, our local media, and like TD gets it. And we'll be talking to him in a little bit. But for the most part, the Titans local media, the people that cover the team, have just absolutely gaslit the fans here because I don't think they understand the collective bargaining agreement. And so every year they talk about the cap. And look at all the teams that have no cap money. The Rams, the Packers, the Saints, the Falcons, the Bills had no cap money. The Chiefs, the Cowboys, and they're all out there signing people, except the Titans. And then when a Titan fan asks, why are the Titans spending no money? All the local scribes say, like John Glennon, who took a pot shot at me earlier today, all they say is, what? The cap. And it's like, no, Joe, the cap is not a problem. It's not a problem for the Rams. What do we have in our text line? Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. What do we have?
Josh texts in and says, this offseason thus far is pointing to the Titans having the wheels fall off. Maybe they recognize this and be mediocre this year and draft a top quarterback next year. I don't know, but the Titans are bringing their sticks to a gun war.
Can I say something? And I mean this, and again, like maybe it's just the anxiety of not knowing how this is going to end. I do not think the Titans have enough draft picks to fix everything that everyone wants the draft.
They don't.
I just don't think they have enough picks, nor do I trust the track record of the drafting to say that they can just draft and the guys can come in right away and play. I think there's a chance the Titans might suck next year. Like, I never thought there was a chance they were going to stink last year. I think it's fair to say, like, there's a legitimate chance the Titans might actually suck this upcoming season. And maybe they'll make some moves today and tomorrow, and we'll all be like, oh, no, Titans aren't going to suck. But, I mean, for what should be a very winnable division, where 2 of the 4 divisions are highly competitive, the West and the North, and then there's you and Buffalo, like, I mean, the quarterback's on the hot seat. It doesn't look like they're going to do anything to help them. They apparently haven't learned from the mistakes they've made last year. It does feel like the possibility that the Titans are going to stink this upcoming season is realistic. What's next?
Andrew texts in and says, we only have a true number 2 wide receiver, somewhat crappy pieced together line, a running back whose best years are behind him, no tight end, and Tannehill at quarterback. We are no way a Super Bowl team this year, and it's not just Tannehill. This is a very crappy looking offense right now.
It's a really bad looking offense. I mean, I don't know, other than Derrick Henry, which there's no guarantee on with Derrick Henry. You know, I wouldn't say I'm 50-50 on Derrick Henry, but I could see it going either way. Other than Derrick Henry, I don't know what, and A.J. Brown is a great player. But I just don't know what to like about this offense. The line is a mess. They're pass catchers right now. And I was the most anti-Julio trade person that was out there in America. And I couldn't believe they did it. And even I'm like, you know, if you cut him, like, they need somebody to catch the ball.
I do wonder what the plan is there, because cutting Julio, okay, I wasn't big on Julio this past season, but he's at least a depth piece. He's at least a body that can catch footballs.
But hasn't the Titans, the way that they screwed up last season with the right tackle and the tight end, doesn't that allow us to think deep down inside that maybe they don't have a plan? Because last year there wasn't a plan. There was not I guess there was a plan at right tackle, but it was just such a bad plan.
But now they're down even more than they were last year.
It's pretty wild. I mean, I think Radens is going to have to start at one of these positions because but I don't know.
He's going to start at one of these positions after Vrabel just said he's not ready?
Yes.
All right.
That
makes me confident.
That's where they're headed. Again, I am opening the door for the possibility that the Titans can make some moves and that all of this, you know, the end is coming talk, you know, people on Twitter will be pointing fingers and saying, hey, this, that, or the other. That's fine. But I would say that deep down inside, it does not look like the Titans have a handle as to what they're going to do and why. And I don't think Robinson doesn't know what he's doing. So I think there's a reason why. And that's why I keep opening to the theories. What's the theory as to why? 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Even if Mike Vrabel didn't mean it, he tried to clarify it. He did say something very interesting that the Titans are doing the exact opposite of. We'll get to that coming up next. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. I absolutely love the FanDuel Sportsbook, and that's why you got to get your bets in on all these games, and you can take a shot on college hoops with a risk-free bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new or already you have an account. All customers get a risk-free bet on the bracket. Just sign into the FanDuel Sportsbook app to claim yours today. New to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM to get on all the action. Then you can bet on the underdog that you've had your eye on or just go with the favorite. Either way, it's risk-free. And I'm going to tell you what, Kansas is going to go ahead and beat Texas Southern today. No faith in Johnny Jones over here. So go ahead and put your money on Kansas. And to cash out, you've got that option. The ball's in your court, so you can close your bet whenever you want before the game is over. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel Sportsbook, just with the promo code JGM. Or if you already have an account, sign into the FanDuel Sportsbook app to claim your risk-free bet today. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $5. Offer is non-transferable and restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Good looking afternoon. We've got temperatures headed to the 70s under partly cloudy skies. We'll keep things mild this evening, but storms return tomorrow morning.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We're offering some exciting new menu items. We have Grandma's famous chicken and dumpling soup. We're offering a fun and new exciting Nashville hot battered shrimp. We're also very excited about our confit chicken hash. Join us in Kitchen Notes for our award-winning patty melt made with our house-made pimento cheese, local Blackhawk Farms beef patty. Come join us in Kitchen Notes and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Lunch at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I have it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Looking to score with a Delta 8? Meet your new one-stop shop for anything and everything Delta 8. D8 Superstore has Delta 8 vapes, gummies, dabs, flour, and more. Backed by their years of extensive product research and testing, they offer the best prices, selection, and quality on the market. Get free shipping on every order with customer support that responds in minutes. So don't wait. Try their Delta 8. Shop with us at d8superstore.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless. Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
The NWA Crockett Cup, the world's premier tag team event, takes Nashville by storm March 19th and 20th. Plus, the 10 pounds of gold will be on the line. Tickets are going fast at NWATix.com. That's NWATIX.com. The NWA, wrestling as it's meant to be.
Mashing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robby and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Great can be personnel or performance, right? There's certain things that we expect of each and every position that you have to do. The technique that we coach. So when we make mistakes and we're not using the technique that we coach, that's easy for me to show and use an example. When we just get beat physically and we're trying to do the technique, like, well, that player's just better. It is imperative that Ryan and every quarterback that we ever have is playing in a manner that's going to make people around them better. I didn't, my comment was just that we have to do things that are expected of us at each and every position. Went through the interceptions, studied the fumbles that we had, and everybody is involved with ball security offensively and the ability to take care of it. And Ryan will improve and he'll work just like everybody else that we have.
There you go. That was Vrabel. And remember, after the season, he said, be great around Tannehill. And then everybody kept using that. Like, they got to go get better players around Tannehill to be great around Tannehill. And then at the Combine, Vrabel clarified that it meant, like, no, we need to play great. We need to not fumble. We need to catch. We need to get open. We need to block. We need to – and I sided with Vrabel on that. But I will say this, that I personally feel like – they're doing nothing to help out Ryan Tannehill. And I tweeted out yesterday that the lack of viable options on the Titans right now is making even me feel bad for Ryan Tannehill.
That is saying something.
That is saying something. So we're live today, by the way, New Heights Brewing Company. TD will be with us in about 10 minutes. We're live out here at New Heights Brewing Company downtown. Want to thank Best Way Rental in Madison for donating the massive televisions on site, local distro for all the food, Tap Truck Nashville as well. Come on out, try one of their beers. And also thank you to Wager, WGAR, for help with our coverage again today from New Heights Brewery. I did promise your phone, so we'll get back to those. One quick thing, though. Baker Mayfield wants a trade. The Jason LaCanfora says the Browns are not going to capitulate to Baker Mayfield. And now Jeremy Fowler says Baker wants to go to the Colts. So this seems like some rapid, like what it was weeks worth of news for Aaron Rodgers is happening in like minutes, like 5 seconds worth of time for Baker Mayfield. I'm not sure how much I care, but we'll keep an eye on that with Baker and everything else as well. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025. Caroline, give me some theories as to why the Titans, in the text line, why the Titans are not spending any money.
Brandy has a theory.
Give it to me, Brandy.
She says maybe they're pulling an NHL and doing a full rebuild with all young players. They're going to draft everybody this year to fill those spots.
But they don't have enough picks.
Also,
so they cut Julio Jones. And everybody yesterday was like, they need to pick a wide receiver now in the draft. And you know me, I want to pick a quarterback this year. You're picking 26th. I like the Ritter kid out of Cincinnati. But that guy's not going to play right away. Well, if you have to pick a wide receiver, then you can't pick a quarterback. But if you pick a wide receiver, then what are you doing at right tackle? What are you going to do at tight end? Well, maybe they can address that in the second round. Oh, wait, they don't have a second-round pick. So then what are they going to do? So you go the third round where they got 1 third-round pick, and then the fourth round where they got 2 fourth-round? And again, what's the history of the Titans, the recent history of guys being able to contribute right away?
And what's the history of guys that you draft in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds that are able to start right away and actually make a difference on this team? I mean, you can't just put in a 6th-round rookie right tackle and expect your quarterback to be protected.
Nope. You can't. And they even let the guy for $2 million that was the right tackle last year, who's a backup, but better than probably anything they have right now. They let him go. So I don't know. Look, everybody's theory is active. Maybe the Titans don't want to say they're rebuilding, but maybe they are. But normally, if I'm rebuilding, like if I'm the Titans and I decide I'm going to rebuild, like I'm trading Derrick Henry. Because then now I'm like getting all these picks and I'm getting it all in return. What else we got?
Another theory. One person says, I wonder if the Titans are completely delusional and they believe that they have the players to make it to the Super Bowl if everyone is healthy.
Oh, my God. If they think that. So we got somebody here at New Heights
she
that
likes
thinks
that
that's
one.
it.
Uh-huh.
They didn't have the players last year.
And that's honestly, like, I understand that, like, thinking that is delusional. Thinking that the Titans have a Super Bowl team right now is kind of delusional. But they got to the divisional round of the playoffs last year and were the first seed in the AFC with essentially the exact same makeup.
And who lost the game?
So maybe that's not delusional.
And who lost the game for them?
Tannehill.
That's one player.
He says they think they're perfect right now.
But they don't
But
have...
do they think that?
They don't have anybody. They don't have any pass catchers. Like, they literally, like we said this after the season.
But who caught passes last year?
But my point is, we go back to the playoff game. What did everybody do during the season last year when Tannehill stunk it up? Westbrook Akina has to be able to come back. Remember Chris Sanders?
But it wasn't Westbrook Akina.
Oh, my God. Westbrook Akina's got to come back to the ball and catch it in the playoff game. And he didn't. And, like, these guys, I mean, I'm sorry. The pass catchers Titans have stink. Like, outside of A.J. Brown, they stink. They had a half when they played the 49ers. And A.J. won them the game in the second half. They had a first half where they had, like, 25 passing yards. And the all-time Titan record for worst performance was 24 when Rusty Smith, who was picked in the 6th round as a rookie and was the third-string quarterback, had to start a game against the Texans in 2010 because Vince Young threw his pads in the stands. Like, that is how bad it was. And you know what? I will say this about Vrabel, and I will say this about the Titans. Arrogance certainly sometimes does not feel like it is lacking. And maybe they do think this team's good enough. If they do, I think they're crazy. Especially like Derrick Henry gets hurt last year and, didn't look great in the playoff game coming off the injury. Mm-hmm. And you're going to let Foreman go?
Yeah, I mean, that
for $2 million
is incredibly puzzling. Like, the Titans can't dish out that amount of money for a running back who was really solid in Derrick Henry's absence and also in a spot that is valuable to the Titans right now because the clock is ticking on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is coming off of an injury, albeit a foot injury, so like a bone injury. Those things heal and you can come back to 100%, but he's getting up there in age. The shelf life of a running back is very short. They age like avocados.
Give me another
So
theory.
you got no Derrick Henry. You got one pass catcher, and you got Jeff Swaim at tight end for a pretty penny.
He catches it, and he falls down. That's all he does. You can get that anywhere.
Another theory.
Give me a theory.
John Robinson is lazy.
I don't think that's true.
I mean, how can you be the general manager of a football team and be lazy?
Look, they're lazy. When Mike Reinfeldt was the general manager around here, it was told to me by a source that if I told you who the source was, everybody would be like, okay. That Mike Reinfeldt wanted to be home for dinner every night when he was general manager of the Titans.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It's not realistic.
It's not what general managers in the NFL do.
But it's sweet.
That's lazy. Reinfeldt was terrible. What's next?
And Indy Ben, our good old friend in Indianapolis, texts in and says,
we're going to get Baker, and so now we're going to be better than the Titans.
Well, he says, how are you not worried about the Colts contending for the division? Titans are getting worse this offseason, while Indy has added a very good pass rusher and will find a competent quarterback. This was before Baker Mayfield to the Colts. Even with Wentz, they nearly won the division last year, and Tennessee has the tougher opponents this season.
They didn't nearly win the division. The Titans were the number 1 seed, and Indianapolis didn't make the playoffs. Where is that coming from?
I don't know.
If this were the other sports, Indianapolis is in the lottery, and the Titans were the number 1 seed. Let's not get too crazy around here about revisionist history. Here's why I'm not worried about the Colts. Because I'm worried about competing for the AFC. Because I worry about the Bills and the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Ravens and the Bengals and the teams that are good. And if they're not good enough to beat the Colts, they certainly won't be good enough to beat those teams. And that's what our focus should be on, are all those teams. And here are the Titans just doing nothing. I wonder what TD's thought is. What is TD's theory? I'm sure he's got to have a theory on this. So TD will join us for the TD Power Hour. That is next. We're live from New Heights Brewing Company out here downtown. We're having a blast out here. By the way, Tennessee 54, Longwood 29. That game seems like it's probably over, barring a massive letdown by the Vols, which probably won't happen, so good for them. And Memphis takes care of Boise State. Congratulations to Penny. Shout out to Penny for all the trouble he got. And Baylor's crushing Norfolk State. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
No, you blew it. That's what happened. It didn't slip away. You blew it.
The voice of the fan.
The officials had let that game get out of control before anything got thrown.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Proud to announce that they have won the Top Gun Award for the best Pella sales organization in the U.S. They have the best culture, best customer satisfaction, and best growth in the business. To celebrate, Pella is offering their amazingly affordable products at 0% financing with no payments for 12 months. Do you need new doors or windows? I suggest you shop with Nashville's Pella experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. No middleman prices. We've brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry. New cutting-edge, fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, and pendants. We have the styles and looks on every woman's wish list. Things you can't find anywhere else. And for 2022, Genesis is now offering a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular styles in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2022 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and Luxury Pre-Owned Rolex Timepieces, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Harmon Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harmon Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
At Copper Branch, they live life to the fullest. Food is your energy and your life. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, their goal is to serve you, your friends, and family quality, great-tasting, plant-based power foods. Visit Copper Branch at 601 Church Street for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with convenient and validated parking during library hours, and download their app for curbside pickup. Or come out for songwriter and live music nights several times throughout the week to empower, energize, and feel your best. Visit Copper Branch today.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as your Nashville Predators take on the Philadelphia Flyers this Thursday night. Puck drops at 6, but the party starts at 5:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beercade downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Signs First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise and the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN,
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
a Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025 The Game. We're streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios at New Heights Brewing downtown, where we are having a blast. All the tournament games are on. Tennessee up 54-29 on Longwood. Free agents keep coming off the board. Baker Mayfield, seems like there's a lot of drama there. The Desean Watson sweepstakes keep rolling along. And the Titans still doing nothing. TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. So, TD, I want to ask you, what is going on with the Titans?
Well, it's a lot of slow motion going on right now. I mean, there's not really any moves happening. I think this is something that was to be expected as far as them being a little quiet the first week of free agency. Obviously, there were a couple guys they had to bring back in Harold Landry and Ben Jones, but you got to remember, you have deals that they have to keep in mind in the future, right? You look at what Trent Balfe and the Christian Kirk signing did to the wide receiver market. A.J. Brown is the guy you can't let leave the building. And then you look at Jeffrey Simmons, he's going to be up too. So you got to make sure that both of those deals are ones that you keep in mind. And, I mean, you can find ways to break the bank to sign some of these guys, but they're just choosing to, have to run it back somewhat. Obviously, not all the way with Julio Jones not being there.
TD, I have a theory, and it involves actual cash and not the salary cap. I think the Saints and Cowboys and Chiefs and Bills and all these teams, and even if the Falcons get, today I was watching ESPN this morning, and they said that if the Falcons get Desean Watson, they're going to cut Matt Ryan, and they're prepared to take a $55 million dead cap charge. So I'm not really worried about the salary cap anymore. I am wondering if this is a cash thing where the Titans have spent a lot of money on some big contracts and they got big signing bonuses coming up. They built a practice facility or renovated their practice facility. They are going to be talking to the city about a new stadium. I wonder if this is a cash thing with the Titans more than it is like the salary cap, because the salary cap just doesn't even really seem to be an obstacle to anybody anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's an obstacle if you will allow it to be by not finding ways to manipulate it. And again, it's like any other system. You can finesse the system. You just have to figure out how. I think you make a good point about the cash, because that is something that has to be considered. I mean, you look at these, the Julio Jones deal, like that really messed them up, right? Because now they don't have a second-round pick, and this is a draft where that second-round pick could really yield you a top-flight player, So, that's something to factor in. Cash is definitely something that I think has a big influence on it, but I'm not going to just say that cap is obsolete. It's a guideline, and it's something that if you allow it to be an obstacle, it can be one.
TD, what would you say? I'm sure you get the same things that we get here, where Titan fans are looking at even, small price tight ends that are going off to competitors. Like Hayden Hurst goes to the Bengals, O.J. Howard goes to the Bills, and wide receivers that are going to teams that supposedly didn't have salary cap space or anything like that. And right now the Titans have A.J. Brown and a bunch of nothing outside of A.J. Brown. And Titans fans, I think, are getting very anxious. I know I'm getting very anxious that, like, Deontay Foreman, $2 million, they couldn't have paid $2.1 million to keep Deontay Foreman. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on there.
Well, I'll say this. The wide receiver group outside of Westbrook McKinney and A.J. Brown, they don't have a guy who has at least 10 receptions. So from last season. So there is reason for fans to be concerned. There's still some guys out there. I mean, Will Fuller is an option. Now, that's a big question mark. I mean, you just brought in a guy who had a lot of injuries. Will Fuller has an even longer list, but he's an option. Allen Robinson went to the Rams. That I thought would be a good move. Juju Smith-Schuster, that's a possibility. So there are still guys on the market. And then this receiver draft class is really deep. But, when you have this window, do you really want to bank on a rookie receiver being a guy that you are relying on to come through and compliment A.J. Brown? I don't know if I would do that.
Why do you think the Titans have so many holes? And I don't want to say this late into free agency, but it is late into free agency. It's not like they have all the picks that they went into the 2016 draft after they traded out of the number one spot. There's a lot of holes, and it feels like every 5 minutes players that could fit those holes are getting snatched up. And it doesn't sound like the Titans are in the mix on anything to fill those holes right now.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't really sound like they're in the mix. It's a combination of things. I mean, you look at some of the drafting in the first round, right? Isaiah Wilson, that one still comes back to bite him, because guess what's an issue? Right tackle. So that's one of them. But then you look at tight end. They drafted well, right? By selecting Jonnu Smith in the third round, he developed into a really good player. But it just doesn't seem like that position has a value to them as far as devoting a big contract to it. So obviously it's a combination of, selectively spending as well as, draft picks just not panning out. as far as early ones are concerned.
Do you think Titans fans should be nervous, or do you think Titans fans should trust the process?
You're bringing out the Sixers phrase, I see. I think Titans fans should be a bit nervous because it's a dangerous situation as far as where they are at this point in free agency and what they have to do, you know, as far as filling holes. And I don't know that really you should rely upon, like I said, a guy that you get in the draft or even, you know, these later free agents to be the ones that you know, come through and complement your roster the way that they need it complemented.
What did you make of the decision to release Julio? You know me. You know that I was against the Julio trade and spent every day of the last year talking about being against the Julio trade. But when they cut him yesterday, I sat there, I looked at Carolina, and I was like, so who's going to catch the ball now other than A.J. Brown? And I didn't expect Julio to ever transform back into Julio, but I at least know that he caught some passes last season, and they release him. And, I mean, there's got to be a move that follows the Julio move, right? What was your reaction to it?
Well, yeah, my initial reaction was I was very surprised. Actually, Chris Sanders and I were doing a segment, and we had to, you know, totally shift focus to the Julio thing yesterday when it happened. And I think you can't just look at that in a vacuum. You have to look at that as a collection of moves. There are some other things to follow. I thought, especially when you pair in how they were able to free up the money with Zach Cunningham, you know, tweaking his deal, I thought that meant a guy like Allen Robinson would end up being with the Titans, you know. But like I said, there's still other options. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, is someone that, in my opinion, like, he's not the savior, but he's someone I could see if they were going to bring in a veteran a receiver, he would be a good option. There's others as well.
TD, I lost my mind the other day when they re-signed Jeff Swaim for $3.5 million. I find Swaim, like, there's good, there's great, right? There's like George Kittle, Travis Kelce, great. Then there's good. You know, like a good tight end. Like Rob Gronkowski at this point is good. Kyle Pitts is good. He's going to eventually ascend probably in 5 minutes into great. But there's good tight ends. Then there's average tight ends. Then there's like practice squad tight ends. And I mean, no disrespect to Swaim, but I kind of pencil him as a practice squad kind of tight end. And when I saw they brought him back on a 1 year, $3.5 million deal, I thought my head was going to explode. Do they think he's the starting tight end of the Titans?
He was their starting tight end last year. I don't know what they think. That one really surprised me because I really don't think that anyone in the early part of free agency, like the first few days, you know, the negotiation window, I really don't think that anyone else was trying to get a deal done with Jeff Swaim. So it's almost like they were bidding against themselves. And I mean, I don't really understand why more than not. Listen, I'm not trying to knock anybody getting money because you get that money when you can. But I'm just a little confused as to how it ended up being that much more than the veteran minimum.
And then on top of it, to let Foreman go for the money he signed in Carolina when Derrick Henry is getting up there in age and definitely could use a backup running back to take some of the load off, I thought that was crazy too.
And Jared, the $3.5 million that Jeff Swaim got is equivalent to, with incentives, what O.J. Howard got in Buffalo. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things to kind of scratch your head about, but it's just one of those where you got to just let it really just work out. And I remember in Philly, you know, the Eagles, and you're familiar with Vince Young from when he was here, but when they put together what Vince Young coined the Dream Team, it looked good right now, right, in March. But then once September came and all the way through December, people ended up losing jobs because it wasn't as much of a puzzle coming together as how they imagined.
The two ones that stand out to me, though, TD, Quessenberry not returning, or maybe he returns, but they didn't even tender him when he was the starting right tackle last year, and I don't see a better option on the roster. And Foreman being let go to Carolina. What did you think of those two guys and your thoughts on Foreman gone and Quessenberry maybe not?
I didn't like Foreman being gone. You know, I thought that's a deal that they could have made happen, especially at $2 million. And I'm not going to say complimented, but he's a really good player to handcuff Derrick Henry to, because, I mean, when you look at as far as similarities and their styles of play, he's the guy that you can maintain what you want to do on offense without him. So that was a tough move to see him go. And then the Quesenberry one, he is a guy that, is very close to Mike Vrabel. I'm surprised that you didn't get a tender. And I felt like, maybe not a starter, but he still was a guy who could fill in a pinch if you need starts, and then also could play multiple positions. So at what he would have cost, I don't, think that was one I would have let walk either. So, I mean, there's three moves right there, Swaim at 3.5, no Foreman, and then Quesenberry not being back. Those are three moves that you wonder what's going on.
Caroline, TD usually talks me off the ledge.
I think he's much
pushing
talking
me.
off
I
of
think
ledge.
I think TD's pushing me a little bit closer to the ledge on what the Titans are doing in free agency. TD is with us on the TD Power Hour. Coming up next, it's my biggest single fear, and I feel like I see it coming, and I want TD's thoughts on it, and that's next right here, Stillman and Company. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. We're live at New Heights Brewing out here downtown. Come on out, see us. Come on out and say hey. Hey, FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Protect yourself against all the upsets this March with bracket parlay insurance on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get $25 back each day if you parlay 3 legs or more and one of them falls short. And I would be one that would need parlay insurance today because I thought Colorado State was going to go to the Sweet 16, and they got knocked out in the first game of the day. So that tells you how much I know. That's why you got to have your parlay insurance. Parlays are great because you can turn a small bet into a big payday. And with cash out, the ball is in your court. So you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. New to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM, and then you can bet the bracket all tournament long. That's promo code JGM on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. If exactly one leg loses, refund is issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. NCAA tournament SBK wager required. Restrictions apply. You can see all the full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The NHL trade deadline is March 21st at 2 p.m. Central. What will the Predators general manager David Poile do to improve the team?
I'm not sure at this time of how big of a trading deadline it's going to be. The standings, it is so close.
Will Philip Forsberg be re-signed before then?
I'm not trying to trade him. I'm trying to sign him. We're going to talk to him again. I hope I have some good news to tell you.
Keep it here on Smashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Hey Nashville, it's Jared, and there's a new go-to for home furnishing. Social Furniture on the West Side is independently home-owned furniture store in Nashville. Forget the big box stores. Shop local, shop social. They have all the best brand mattresses, sofas, recliners, love seats, sectionals, coffee tables, and more with no waiting. They will deliver it the same day. That's with everything at Social Furniture. Enjoy new furniture now with no waiting. Shop local, shop social. 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road, and tell them Jared Stillman sent you.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people. It takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe here to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Dr. Rice, listen, we all have cavities, but what's the best way to try and keep them from happening?
Cavities are like any other health condition. You don't really know you have one until it gets bad. Recently, I saw a patient for treatment that they had been putting off. Something that could have been simple to fix 6 months ago turned out to need a root canal and a crown. Postponing treatment costs more and takes time away from work.
Nobody wants a root canal, so you're right. Regular checkups are very important.
Well, we do things differently. I want to let people know that if they're afraid of pain or worried about the cost, they are not alone. Don't be embarrassed. We understand. Give us a call at 615-373-4488. That's KellyERice.com.
Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. If you don't have dental insurance, no problem. Be sure to join their membership club. Just visit KellyERice.com or call 615-373-4488 now to schedule your cleaning and checkup. You'll certainly be glad you did.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale. Family Leisure has truckloads of new model merchandise. Spas as low as $29.99.
Okay.
Family Leisure is getting all the new patio furniture styles, the guaranteed largest selection, and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
That's interesting.
Factory Direct pricing on pools. 24-foot pools starting as low as $29.99 installed. 6 months, same as cash.
Grill, smokers, and grill islands are on sale too.
Even the massage chairs, theater seating, and leather sectionals. That's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale. Going on now.
Both locations, Antioch and Franklin.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
We're live at New Heights Brewing out here downtown. Stillman and Company as the Volunteers. I said 77-50, and they've already got 70-plus points on Longwood, so they're probably going to score about 100. So I guess I was off by 30. Earlier today. That game looks to be over. ESPN 102.5, the game is Nashville's official home of NASCAR. Tune in this Sunday at 1 o'clock for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and also get set for the race with Chasing Checkers every Sunday at 8 a.m. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. TD, I've never had kids before. You have, so you would know more about this than I would as a parent. But I'm sure there are often times where over the years, especially when your children were younger, where they'd make a mistake and you would explain to them the mistake and you would think that they understood the mistake and then they would go out and do the exact same thing over again. Is that a fair assessment that does happen as a parent?
Oh, yeah, a very fair assessment that happens, and you have to develop patience.
Okay. Last year, we sat here. Jonnu Smith left. Corey Davis left. And we were like, what are they going to do at tight end? What are they going to do at right tackle when they cut Dennis Kelly? What are they going to do at wide receiver? And it was like, oh, no, they'll figure it out. The draft's coming up. They'll get it. They signed Josh Reynolds, and they drafted Des Fitzpatrick. And we were wondering, like, tight end, like, what are they going to do? I felt like when we did the draft show, you were, refreshing the tight ends for us every 5 minutes, as to who they could go to on that second day. TD, they don't have a right tackle. They don't have a tight end, in my opinion, and they need pass catchers opposite A.J. Brown. And if they hadn't so royally screwed it up last year, I wouldn't be as concerned, but I almost feel like we're having the exact same discussions we had a year ago, and I'm worried about it for the team, and I'm also worried about it for Tannehill. What's your kind of assessment of that?
It's essentially the exact same conversation, and here this team falls again in need of a right tackle, and I think the good thing is, it's March 18th, so there's still time, but tight ends and other players, like, they're coming off the market. I think they really missed the boat on Morgan Moses, not signing him. 3 years, $15 million. Like, that's a very, very feasible deal for a guy who started as many games as he has, and he would have fit, at right tackle. So, yeah, it's the same conversation. They do have to figure out what to do there. And like I said, the good thing is that there's still time.
We had somebody earlier today ask the question that maybe the Titans think that they're fine the way they are. I certainly don't feel that way. Like, is there any way that John Robinson's sitting there in his office and watching Buffalo go out and get a Pro Bowl guard and Von Miller and a tight end, and watching, teams around the league that Kansas City goes out and gets a safety, and Cincinnati's getting offensive linemen and tight ends, and thinks to himself, no, I'm good with Swaim and Jamarco Jones and the guys they've – like, how can that be possible?
Well, that's the thing. The Jamarco Jones one, that's basically Kendall Lamb all over again, like going into with that same type of expectation. And that experiment obviously didn't work. I think, when you look at tight end, I know they like Briley Moore, who he's an undrafted free agent last year. He had a productive camp as far as, what he was able to do, but then he had the ACL injury. I don't see how they could be at a point where they're like, okay, everything is good, because it's not. And obviously they know their personnel better than I do. So it's outside looking in, but I don't see how they can sit there and see everything else happening and think that everything is all right, because they are now actually worse off than they were last year, so there are some things that they have to get figured out.
If you got a call on the cell phone right now from John Robinson and you picked it up, John, what's going on? And for some reason, I think he likes you a lot, TD, because every time you ask a question, he says, "That's a great question, T." Now, in fairness, it may be because it's a great question.
That's a great question. Yeah, exactly.
But every time, without hesitation, that's a great question, T. And he calls you and he says, "T, I need your opinion. What the hell do I do right now in free agency with all these guys going off the board? I feel good about my defense. I don't have a kicker. I don't have a slot receiver that I trust. I don't have a right tackle. I don't have a tight end other than Swaim. I don't have a punt returner. What do I do, T?"
Well, I would say sign Gerald Everett or one of those level tight ends. I would say see what type of deal Smith-Schuster would require. I would also say go out and get Jeff Wilson from the 49ers. You already got one 49ers back in Trenton Cannon. I'll get another one. Cannon, in my opinion, is going to take over as the return guy. So he feels the return part that you mentioned. So that's what I would do. I would also look at a corner, but I think the better thing to do would be to get corner in the draft.
Oh, yeah, and I think, I'm comfortable. I told somebody today, and maybe, I might be like the world's biggest skeptic sometimes when it comes to the Titans, but I'm comfortable with the idea of going into the season that Caleb Farley will start opposite Christian Fulton, and Elijah Molden will be in the slot. And if there's a problem with Farley, in his recovery and everything, then Chris Jackson will play there. And if you have to sign a Buster Screen type player off the scrap heap, fine, for a depth guy. I actually have no problems right now on defense. Defense, I'm fine with. It's offensive line, tight end, and I think that Titan fans should be allowed to be worried about the kicker right now. Not that they don't, that they can't get one, but they haven't had a kicker for 3 years. And that's concerning. You go back to the playoff game, they went for it on that fourth down that they didn't get. It would have been a 52-yard kick. And the biggest reason I didn't have a problem with the 52-yard kick was because, Randy Bullock had shown this past year that he was an accurate kicker, but not a range kicker. But then you go back to Cincinnati, their kicker could hit it from 65, the way he was kicking. And so I think that does matter too. And I got to tell you, defense I feel good about, but boy, everything else, TD, it's just got me all worked up.
Yeah, the defense is solid. There are questions, and one thing that you can do, Cade York out of LSU, that's a really good kicker. I think he hit 3 kicks of over 51 yards, didn't miss an extra point, and having that wild card there for you where all you have to do is get it to the opponent's 35 and you have a really good shot at getting 3 points. I think that's something that will help a team like the Titans as far as their style of play. So, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to be concerned about on offense and defense. We went through the whole offense, and there's still question marks at left guard too now, right? So there's a lot to wonder, and I'm just wondering, are they really being great around Ryan Tannehill, which was the mantra that, Mike Vrabel has kind of established, and there's still a lot to see.
Oh, I don't think they have any chance to be good around Tannehill as is right now. They're setting Tannehill up to fail next year if he's going out there with Swaim at tight end and, Jamarco Jones at right tackle. I think they are literally setting up Ryan Tannehill to fail.
Yeah. Again, it's March 18th. Let's see how this whole thing follows up and where they go from here.
Now, if John Robinson had called TD last year and said, "Hey, T, what should I do?" Elijah Moore would be on the team on offense, and we would not be as all worked up and been out of shape about what to do as far as wide receiver is concerned. TD is with us, 615-737-1025. Get your questions in for TD, and I got to believe you got a lot of them today. I got to believe.
You've already got some coming through.
You got the questions for TD, so get those in, 615-737-1025, which is our phone number. And coming up next, boy, there has been a lot of drama outside of the Titans. A lot of drama, and it's like one quarterback domino leads to another quarterback domino, and these can affect the Titans. So we'll get TD's thoughts on all this that's coming up. Hey, join 1025 The Game tonight for the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade. Drink specials, enter to win Preds tickets, and watch the Preds take on the Flyers. It's the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade, 114 2nd Avenue South downtown. Puck drop at 6 o'clock. Caroline, tell us about Caesars Sportsbook.
It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook report. Now remember, if you are a new user to Caesar Sportsbook, then they're going to throw you a feast. And what I mean by that is that they're going to give you a $250 Uber Eats gift card. All you got to do is download the app with code RADIOEAT, one word, code RADIOEAT, and when you wager $50 or more total, you'll get a $250 Uber Eats gift card. Now, if you need something to put that money on, then put some money on the NCAA tournament going on today. Kentucky taking on the St. Peter's Peacocks. And I got no beef with the Peacocks, but I think Kentucky's going to win this one big. Take Kentucky minus 18. Those odds at minus 110. Must be 21, offer valid in Tennessee only. New customers with eligible promo code only. Real money wagers only that have minimum odds of minus 200. $250 gift card redemption code and steps to redeem gift card will be sent via email within 72 hours. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. Download it, people.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Feeds now Sissons coming on from the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the next generation of drivers, where titanium ends and the carbon age begins. Introducing the new Stealth Carbon Wood driver from Taylormade, with 60 layers of carbon twist face technology designed for better energy transfer and faster ball speeds. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations: Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Pete Weber. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. This week's new deal is half off a $50 gift card for Bavarian Beer House in Opry Mills. It's Nashville's only authentic German beer hall. It's a place of fun, food, music, and most importantly, beer. Enjoy traditional German bratwurst, schnitzel, giant pretzels, and more. And an Oktoberfest-inspired space. Visit beerhousenashville.com for their live music schedule. Head to theGameNashville.com/deal to get $50 gift card for only $25 to Bavarian Beer House while supplies last. We're hanging out here at New Heights Brewing thanks to our friends at Wager that are out here with us. Shout out to them as well. It's the TD Power Hour. Teron Davenport, ESPN, is with us here on the program. TD, what do you make of the current standings in the Desean Watson sweepstakes and what it could mean for Matt Ryan and what it could mean now for Baker Mayfield, even though the Browns are out, and he said goodbye to Cleveland and wants a trade. TD, decipher this drama for me, please. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the Baker Mayfield situation is really interesting. And, I mean, I guess you got to understand it's a business. I know, especially someone like Baker Mayfield who has such thin skin is going to take it personally. You know what? End of the day, just go out and make them miss you or make them feel stupid for, considering trading you. I think that's the way that should work out. I hope Watson honestly goes to the Falcons. I would love to see Coach Arthur Smith with him and just how they could work that offense, with Kyle Pitts and everything. That would be a really good situation for them. And Matt Ryan, as you mentioned earlier, they release him. Now you're taking a pretty husky cap hit, but I mean, that's something that they're willing to do in order to get a guy like Watson. And it really turns everything around as far as that situation is concerned. But the Browns are out. So it's really down to the Falcons, Panthers, and Saints. And you saw how much money the Saints, I think it's another $5 million they got to clear out if they were to acquire Watson.
Well, I mean, when you've already figured out $100 million, what's another $5? You already got yourself $100 million one way. I mean, what's the other $5? I asked this. We were talking to Chris Sanders about this yesterday, TD. He would not worry Baker Mayfield. Jeremy Fowler reporting that Baker Mayfield wants to go to the Colts. Chris is not worried about Baker Mayfield on the Colts. He is scared to death of Desean Watson going to Atlanta and Matt Ryan being the quarterback of the Colts. What do you think of that situation?
I mean, if Matt Ryan goes to be quarterback of the Colts, that's fine. I don't think there's anything to be overly afraid of. Matt Ryan is not the same quarterback as he was back in that MVP year. And there's a reason why the Falcons are looking, to get rid of him, to move on from him. It's something that they've been considering over the last couple years, but it just wasn't feasible because of that cap charge that it would be. But in the case of Watson, you do that, you make that move. And so that's why you're seeing that come to fruition. So as far as the Colts are concerned, I don't really think that it's something to be concerned with as far as Mayfield or Matt Ryan going to them, because neither one of them are a true threat, in my opinion, to what the Titans are looking to do, and that's win the AFC South.
I look at the Colts, and I see the move for Yannick Ngakoue, and I do think they're going to end up with one of these two quarterbacks, Mayfield or Matt Ryan, or Jameis Winston if he ends up going to the Saints. I think they're going to end up with one of those three quarterbacks. And I have a hard time caring about the Colts, TD, from this standpoint that when I look at the Titans, I think about Buffalo, Kansas City, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Bengals, like all those teams that could be competing for the AFC. And I don't think if Indianapolis ends up with either of those guys that they will be competing for the AFC. And so is it wrong to have that approach? Or do you think with free agency, the Titans have dropped out of the class with the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bengals and kind of the top of the AFC? And don't forget about Denver.
Yeah, I think they're just a tick below that group that you mentioned. But they're right there. And that could change, with a couple moves that they do. And again, we still have the draft too to look at. So I think they are a tick below. But you're right. Those are the teams that you need to be looking at, because those are the ones that, it's going to end up being, who you got to go through in order to get to the Super Bowl.
TD, you have convinced me of something. Like I don't know if you know this. I can get talked into things sometimes, and sometimes more often than not, talked into them by you. I've become this huge Desmond Ridder fan because you said that when you talked to him at the Combine, you thought he was like a Vrabel Robinson guy. And then I thought he threw well at the Combine. And then I heard Bucky Brooks and Solomon Wilcots talking about him. And Bucky Brooks was talking about him having a personality kind of similar to Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott from a maturity, standpoint. But if the Titans have all these holes going into the draft and they don't have a second-round pick, they have no shot at getting a Desmond Ridder. And I worry that they're going to walk into this draft with too many holes, because it's easy to say, well, wait till the draft and then start. I worry they're going to walk into this with too many holes, and they just don't have enough picks to fill all the holes that they have, and that might be a problem. And think about when they got A.J. Brown and Jeffrey Simmons, they didn't have needs to go get that guy. that makes me very nervous.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is a team that has done a good job of drafting for the future. And that's exactly why I asked John Robinson the question at the combine about drafting the quarterback of the future. And I think Ritter falls right into that picture. And one of the reasons why you could do that is because you have most of your holes filled. So you could afford to make a luxury pick. But in this case, if Ritter's the best player available, at 26, then okay, yeah, you pull the trigger and you figure it out over the rest of the draft. And on top of that, you try to find ways to move around to acquire more picks, in this class that is so deep at various positions of need for the Titans. So I think really overall, they're not in the best situation to go ahead and make a luxury pick. But, again, that best player available aspect is something that you have to consider.
When it comes to all the needs that we've talked about on offense, where do you think it's realistic? Because they're really only going to be able to get one or two guys if you want to count the third round. And in all seriousness, you spent all that time talking to Elijah Molden. They drafted him. He was their best rookie, and I don't even think it was really all that close. So maybe one or two guys right now that they have the firepower to be able to get. What are the positions that you're circling saying, I feel confident that if they don't address this in free agency, they can get it in the draft?
Well, naturally, you want to say the tight end position. But one thing that has kind of held true is it's difficult for a tight end to have a true impact in his first year in the league. So as far as just the depth there, they could get good players, but tradition says it's going to be tough for him to contribute right away. So I take tight end out. I think tackle or guard, those are the positions. But above all else, it's receiver. And I think, if Chris Olave's there at 26, you run to the podium and you don't turn back. Like, that's the pick that you make. But there are other players, as we've discussed, later on in the draft that I think they should definitely adjust and take. So, I mean, you look at some of these guys. Eric Ekuzama out of Texas Tech is a productive player. A lot of people say, hey, this guy or that guy is the next Deebo Samuel. I'm not calling him the next Deebo Samuel because Deebo is unique, but he could do a lot of the things that they asked Deebo to do.
TD, where do you think the Desean sweepstakes ends, and what do you think the fallout of that is going to be for the other teams after that move's made?
Yeah, I really think he ends up with the Saints. As much as I would like for it to be the Falcons, I think he ends up in New Orleans. And the fallout is just, hey, I mean, other teams are going to have to make sure that their secondaries are ready to go and their pass rushers are as well, because you're going to have to really play outstanding defense to beat the Saints.
Well, then where's Jameis go?
Jameis actually has been in contact with the Colts. Josina Anderson reported that. So, I mean, there's a destination for him. There's still other opportunities, too. I mean, if Cleveland moves on for Baker Mayfield, Jameis could end up there, too. But I think the Colts are someone to really look at for Jameis.
Ooh, how about that? I did not see that from Josina Anderson. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
That's some
Jameis.
tea.
That was the one that we said, who's the best free agent quarterback that's out there, Jameis.
Jameis.
All right, enough of me talking. Your questions for TD, I know you have them. 615-737-1025. We're right to them on the other side. TD will be breaking down your Titans questions, and yes, it is okay to panic. 615-737-1025. TriStar Moving. If you're moving, there's a lot of elements of buying a home, selling a home that is going to make you want to panic, renting new homes, but TriStar Moving will take a lot of the moving process out for you. They are the best, 100%, hands down, the best moving company in Middle Tennessee. And it's okay if you don't believe or trust me, but do yourself a favor and check out the hundreds of 5-star reviews that they have on Google that back up that take. You know why they get so many 5-star reviews? Because of the service they provide throughout the entire process. They start with the estimate, where their professionals come out and give you a great quote. Then their administrative staff will work with you every step of the way, preparing you for your move all the way to the big day. And I have sent tons of people their way, and they're the same people that always give me a buzz back, and they say, thank you for telling me about TriStar Moving. Thank you for introducing me to Garrett and Robert, their owners, who are Nashville through and through, and they really They don't care about making the buck as much as they care about helping the people in their community. And I know this because I moved with them, and those are my friends, and I trust those guys. TriStar is the only way to go. Give them a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, and you will get a personal discount on me. That's 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Good looking afternoon. We've got temperatures headed to the 70s. Under partly cloudy skies will keep things mild this evening, but storms return tomorrow morning.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The 2022 Major League Soccer season is officially here, and the Nashville SC Stadium nearly complete. Don't miss Nashville SC's home opener May 1st. Grab a seat at nashvillesc.com/22ticks.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Did you know that every diamond at Genesis Diamonds is over 1 billion years old? That's before dinosaurs, even before some of the stars in the sky. These elusive stones were originally formed miles beneath the Earth's surface, each one born in a volcanic explosion, yet kept hidden for generations. It's a fact that for every 1 carat diamond at Genesis Diamonds, trained miners blasted through over 200 tons of rock, and skilled experts sifted through the rubble to find the highly sought-after rough diamonds. Then expert cutters spend untold hours shaping and polishing each stone, unlocking its beauty and fire and brilliance. From the hands of the craftsman direct to you, these magical stones are your piece of eternity. Precious, rare, unique, indestructible, and treasured all over the world. Oh, and the unbeatable prices at Genesis Diamonds? They're just a bonus. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Uncompromising quality, unimaginable value.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas, they've gone from a community bank to a nationwide mortgage lender. BOE delivers innovative mortgage products with superior customer service and the most knowledgeable loan officers in Nashville. Find your nearest location in Middle Tennessee at BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Sometimes their glass is half full.
That was unbelievable. It was the best NFL draft they've ever had.
Sometimes glass half empty.
What are we getting ourselves into here? Tough game.
And sometimes it's all about the numbers.
One win, and they've gone on this streak, and now they're at 500.
Hang out with Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2 during your workday. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
A shout out to New Heights Brewing Company where we are hanging out today. Again, we'll be here all day tomorrow. So come on out, take pictures with Caroline Fenton. Apparently she's getting out of town after the show tomorrow. So I invite everybody to come out 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Quick.
Take pictures with Caroline Fenton to keep her off the road as long as possible, to make her drive to where she's going as miserable as possible.
Why would you do that?
I ask that.
So not nice of you to
know,
do.
Is what it is.
I need a focus for my drive.
Tennessee, I love that. Tennessee 85, Longwood 56. Might want to call them Smallwood today. Not showing up against the Tennessee Volunteers.
How long you been sitting on that one?
Probably since I used that joke with you about an hour ago. But I want to give a shout out as well to our friends at Best Way Rental in Madison for donating the massive televisions on site here. Local distro for all of the food, and Tap Truck Nashville as well. Come on out and try their beers. Also, big shout out to our friends at Wager for hanging out with us. Again, Wager, where the new betting app where you bet against people. You're not betting against the house. So it's kind of like if somebody's crazy and they have a take, they think that team's going to win, you bet against them. Our friends here at New Heights Brewery. Okay, TD's with us. TD Power Hour. And I put this in the tweet that I normally say TD answers your questions. I put TD answers your questions and concerns because I think there's a lot of concerns about the Titans. Caroline, the floor is yours. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Mark from Clarksville asked TD, what wide receiver and tight end do you want to see the Titans sign?
That's a great question because so many of them are coming off the books. I would say at this point, Gerald Everett and Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, would be two solid signings, and I don't think either one of them will really break the bank. So those would be the ones.
TD, do you worry at all about, and I don't know, I never covered Juju or anything like that, but the TikTok stuff and everything, do you worry about that being a problem with Vrabel, or do you think that's a one conversation and it's over?
I think that's a one conversation and it's over kind of thing. And I mean, yeah, Coach Vrabel is a no-nonsense guy, but so was Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? And I don't think it'll be an issue. And actually, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take Gerald Everett back, and I'm going to say Austin Hooper. I forgot he was available. So that would be the one that I would bring in.
I would say this, too, on the Juju thing. I mean, like, if you're like, hey, Juju, stop doing TikToks. Like, dude, the guy has a podcast at left tackle. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
okay,
he's not the
right,
only one with a media presence.
Yeah.
Another texter asked, is Marcus just not a good quarterback option for some of these teams?
I think you have to have a certain style of offense for him. I think that's really what the issue is with Mariota. But he is someone that I think the Colts could be competitive with him. I think so. I think that would be probably the best case scenario for him.
Another texter asked, with Fletcher Cox being released, would it be wise to add more beef to the D-line to hide the young secondary?
Fletcher Cox?
Yes, that's what the texter said.
Yeah, I don't know that you can afford to do that. I mean, Fletcher Cox has a high number, and you're going to have Jeffrey Simmons. You got to get him paid soon too. So, I don't think that would be something to do. That you don't really have to add to that D line. I think they're all set.
I mean, if you want to see Mason Kinsey play wide receiver next year, then by all means go add more defensive linemen. But I'm with TD on this.
Craig texts in and asks, any chance the Titans might make a trade for Baker? I know he's not an all-pro or anything like that, but I do think he has more upside than Tannehill.
What is up with the text line today? I mean, the Titans are doing nothing at tight end and tackle, and we're asking about trading for Baker Mayfield?
Hey, I mean, Jared, I think this should be right up your alley.
That is true.
You do not want Tannehill back. So, I wouldn't make that trade for Baker Mayfield. No, that's not something I would do.
TD brings up a fair point. That if this were the middle of the week, might be a good topic to get into for a while about Baker or Tannehill. Let's take your call.
Let's keep it in your back pocket for next week.
Yeah. Because this drama is not ending anytime soon between Baker and the Browns.
Good news for us. Another texter asked TD, what would you do at the kicker position?
Run that one by me again one more time. It went out.
What would you do at the kicker position?
Oh, well, I mentioned earlier, Cade York. I think he's a guy that they should look at draft now to LSU.
What about Greg the Leg?
Greg the Leg. I don't know that there's much leg left with him. Maybe Ficken to be kicking. Maybe they'll bring Sam Ficken back. He's someone I know that they liked before his injury.
I was sitting there yesterday, and this shows you how little problems I have in my life. I was sitting there yesterday looking at the kickers and saw Sam Ficken. TD, he was drilling the ball in the practices at Tampa Bay. I thought he won that job in those two practices against the Buccaneers, and then he got that mysterious injury that we never heard anything about. Do we know anything more about that?
No, I never got anything on that injury. I don't know what happened there, but it cost him a job, actually.
Another texter says, the Bills, Bills just cut Cole Beasley. Could that be a player that the Titans could look into?
He's someone they could look into. I mean, he would obviously help out in that slot position, but he's not the vertical guy that I think they need. But you could definitely pick up a lot of receptions that you lost with Julio Jones. So That's one. That's actually a really good question. And actually, come to think of it, I would look at making that move, but you just have to make sure that number's right because you want to, you don't want a Adam Humphrey situation like you had, as far as the numbers and the production not being there. Beasley has been a guy that's been kind of in and out of the lineup with injuries.
Do you feel better about outside guys in this draft or slot guys if the Titans go that route at 26?
At 26, well, that's why Olave is so good because he could do both. Jahan Dotson is another one that I think could play both. I do have some concern, like watching him against Auburn. Roger McCreary, made life pretty difficult for him. But I think overall, for the guys that are going to be available to the Titans at 26, I would probably think the slot position will be a little bit better for them.
I was thinking about Olave. I think he ran his way away from the Titans. But another name that popped up to me was Treylon Burks because I saw that Treylon Burks was ahead of the Titans in most of the mock drafts, and he did not run well at the Combine. Do you think he makes it to 26 after he ran a 4.55?
I think it's possible he makes it to 26. I mean, you have to look at the guy. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Chris Olave. You got Drake London. You got a good amount of receivers that, a team, who knows, a team could fall in love with Dotson and take him ahead of Burks. So there's a good possibility that he falls. And I don't think it's really because of the Combine and as far as the 40. But, end of the day, the thing that is going to cause a little concern, and I talked about this recently, like there's not a lot of separation in his routes and things like that. Like he's always making contested catches. And I'm not sure if that's going to be something that could happen as frequently in the league against these better type of corners.
Another texter asked, what can the Titans do today to be great around Tannehill?
Wow. I guess sign Austin Hooper and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think that's what they have to do. That would probably be the first step.
Another texter texts in and says, what are some moves that they could make on defense since we're focusing so much on offense?
Yeah, I think the defense, as we said earlier, is pretty well set. You could look at a veteran corner, but I think when you look at the guys that are available, there's not really – I think draft. So at this point right now, I don't think there's much you do to improve the defense. I think you draft a couple guys. Joshua Williams out of Fayetteville State, I think would be an ideal day 3 option for them.
TD's in deep when he's bringing out the Fayetteville State tape. I did not even know that Fayetteville State was a thing.
Fayetteville isn't even a state.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but the university is a state university. We'll put it like that.
And somehow TD got his hands on that film. TD, I know that you've got a big edition of Talking with TD that's already dropped this week. Tell us about that for what we've got with Talking with TD.
Yes, so Chris Sanders and I, we reacted to the Julio Jones news. So you'll have that segment on Run TMC. I opened up the show speaking about that as well. And then we got into a sleeper series. I mean, you mentioned Fayetteville State going deep. Well, Midwestern State out of Texas. I had a safety from that school by the name of Malik Sanier, and he has the pro day coming up, and he's expecting to do 25 to 30 reps on the bench, running the 4.4s, and have explosive broad and vertical. So I got to talk to him about that.
There you go, TD with us as always, the TD Power Hour. TD, you got me more worried, which is probably good for the radio, so we always appreciate it. You're the best. Appreciate you, TD. TD, as always, joining us on the radio show.
Good for the radio, but I don't know how good it is for your blood pressure.
Dude, how scary is that with the things TD was saying at the beginning about some of the moves where he disagreed with?
And that's when you know it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, like.
When TD's kind of throwing his arms up like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, I have no answers.
I mean, TD, like TD normally is the pushback. You know, that's usually the.
Like, just
Jared,
chill
you're
out.
crazy. Calm down.
It's
like, that's
only
the voice
March
of reason.
17th.
And, I mean, I didn't feel. Like, I expected that from TD. And I did not feel that from TD. Got me a little worried.
That's when you know the Titans are down bad.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Georgia State, 21-21 with Gonzaga. The Vols knocked off Longwood, 88-56. I was close with 77-50.
Not quite.
But I was pretty darn close. I'm
Not quite.
I have drilled my last two Vols NCAA tournament games. I said they get beat by Oregon State, and everyone thought it was crazy. I said they blow out Longwood. Nobody said I was crazy, but just said. North Carolina up 18-8 on Marquette, which is good for them. Richmond up 51-46 on Iowa, which is good for them. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, everybody seems to think this, and I think it is a bad thing if the Titans think it. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a boring first-round pick.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This hour of Sports Talk brought to you by FlexCar.com, a new way to have the exact car you want or need. You can drive a Jeep in winter and swap it out for a sedan in spring with low weekly rates plus mileage. Find out why more people are enjoying the flexibility of FlexCar.com.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale.
Which factory? From where?
Family Leisure has truckloads of new model merchandise from all their factories arriving daily.
Really? Like what?
Well, spas for one. All the new model spas are here and on sale. From Artesian, Viking, and Bimini Spas. Spas as low as $29.99.
Okay.
Family Leisure is getting all the new patio furniture styles. Hannah Mint, Trapeatone, and Woodard are on sale. And there are still a lot of floor models left to sell at ridiculous prices. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Now that's interesting.
Family Leisure has factory direct pricing on pools. 24-foot pools starting as low as $29.99 installed. And solid wood slate pool tables are only $14.99 as well.
That means the grills, smokers, and grill islands are on sale too.
Of course. Family Leisure even has the new 24-lamp wolf tanning beds on sale for $26.99.
Even the massage chairs, theater seating, and leather sectionals are on sale.
That's right. That's Family Leisure's factory direct sale going on now.
Both locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Hey folks, Joe Rexrode here, inviting you to protect yourself. Protect yourself against upsets, because we know upsets are happening this March. You can do that with the Bracket Parlay Insurance on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. Parlays are great. You can turn a small bet into a big payday, and with cash out, the ball's in your court, so you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. I've been telling people I'm bullish on Baylor. I like Chattanooga as a team to watch. And I tell you what, the Vols also really could make a run in this tournament. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up promo code Joe102, then you can bet the bracket all tournament long. That's promo code Joe102 on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. If exactly 1 leg loses, refund issued is now drawable strike credit expires in 7 days. NCAA tournament SBK wager required. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Steely Dan, Earth After Hours Tour.
Are you reeling in the years?
Steely Dan, live in concert. Performing the greatest hits for one night only. First Bank Amphitheater, July 13th, with special guest, the Dave Stryker Trio. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. For more info, check SteelyDan.com.
It's Markdown Madness at Electronic Express. Bring the tournament to your living room with 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Markdown Madness is going on now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. We are live out here at New Heights Brewery, where we are hanging out here. The crowd excited. Tennessee won their game. We got a bunch of other games that are going on, so on and so forth. And again, I told everybody, I started the show off with this, nobody cares about your bracket. So I know you probably filled out a bracket. You're probably going around like, you'll watch a game, you'll see, you'll remember who you picked. Like I picked Gonzaga to beat Georgia State, and nobody cares. Now, if you did pick Georgia State to beat Gonzaga, right now Georgia State up 23-22 in the first quarter. If you did and you got it right, then you might be smart. But nobody else did. Big shout out to our friends at Best Way Rental in Madison for donating the massive TVs on site. Local Distro for all the food, and Tap Truck Nashville as well. Come try one of their beers. And also, big shout out to our friends at Wager, who are out here where if you swing by, you can find a way to bet against Darren McFarland and take his money. So it's kind of like that win Terry Bradshaw's money thing. I guess this is like win Darren McFarland's actual money.
Similar wallets as well, similar bank accounts.
And it's important to talk about money, because one thing everybody assumes in the NFL is that teams do not care about dollars. They care about the cap. Like, we've been trained to think the cap is what teams are working against and not their own internal budgets. And we look around the league and we see Buffalo, very wealthy owners, the Pagulas, and they're trying to get a new stadium. And they gave Josh Allen a massive contract that pays him $43 million a season. And they're going out and paying Von Miller all this money, and it's really like a 2 or 3 year deal, but it's disguised as a 6-year deal so it can spread the cap hit out, but they're giving Von Miller a bunch of money in order to come to Buffalo. Von Miller doesn't want to go to Buffalo, but they're giving him a bunch of money to go to Buffalo. They gave Roger Saffold money. They gave O.J. Howard money. They are making additions. The Kansas City Chiefs have restructured everybody to get it to work. The New Orleans Saints, Gail Benson, tons of money. They went from $70 million in the hole to now $30 million in space, and they are the favorites to get Desean Watson. Arthur Blank, rich owner. If they get Desean Watson, they will let go of Matt Ryan, and they will take on a $55 million dead cap charge. And I heard on ESPN this morning, they were talking about owner Arthur Blank says he's fine with it. Why? Because it's not really about the cap. It's more so about the money. And Arthur Blank's the one who's got to write the check. And the Titans, again, without trying to...
Pocket watch?
Where's Ladarius?
I don't know where he went.
Ladarius is hanging out here. I always look at Ladarius when I say pocket watch because he accuses me of being a pocket watcher. But while not trying to pocket watch Amy Adams Strunk and the Titans, the one theory that I have for why the Titans are sitting on their hands, there's Ladarius, why the Titans are sitting on their hands when it comes to free agency is that they may just not have the money. And so nobody ever thinks about this. It's never a big deal. But I wonder if the Titans have the money to be able to spend on free agents that can improve this team. Maybe they just don't. Chris Mortensen was on the midday show from ESPN. Mort was talking about it and said when teams get new stadiums, there's a big reason why they want a new stadium, and the Titans want one bad. Here's what Mort said on DDC.
Here's what's interesting. It's one of the reasons why the Rams can do what they do and what have you. Cash is important to be able to pull this off. You have to be a cash-rich team. I'm talking about, and believe it or not, even though everybody's making money, nobody's losing money. If your ownership group has a lot of cash, you can do the things I'm talking about, converting the base salary to a signing bonus, which would go immediately to the player, because you have the cash flow to do it. And that's one reason why I would say, and I don't even know if the Titans are a good example, but that's, that's why it's important to build a new stadium, to get your cash flow up, and generate that type of cash so that maybe you can restructure more contracts or take some of his base salary, turn it into signing bonus. Peyton Manning with the Colts, everybody thought, well, he took maximum. No, he had it automatically, and Napoleon wrote the contract up. It had it automatically, but the club could exercise whenever it wanted to convert his base salary to roster bonuses or signing bonuses. I forget what it was, so that it would not take a big hit against the cap in the particular year that the Colts wanted to lower it.
What you got to do to be able to do that? Got to have the money. The Titans, and it has not gotten contentious because it's not close to any deadline that would be important. I believe this new stadium development is going to be a very contentious debate. I believe it is going to be hotly contested, a bunch of obstacles for the Titans, a bunch of where's this money coming from, who's that money going to. For example, the Titans want this stadium built by 2026. Their lease ends in 2027, so they want a new lease deal that would come with a new stadium. They want it built by 2026. Well, they want to get this done with Mayor Cooper, but Mayor Cooper is only going to be the mayor until next year, and I hate to sit here and try to act like a political pundit, but Mayor Cooper's probably not getting reelected if I had to guess. So then they're going to be dealing with another mayor, and then you're going to have people that are against giving money to teams, and a lot of people are against giving money to teams to build stadiums. Cash matters. And while, again, I am not trying to say that Amy Adams Strunk is poor, because she obviously has more money than me, and we've talked about this. Again, if she wants to tell the Titans, hey, guys, we've been spending way too much money. They're a top 10 cash spent team. We've been spending way too much money, time to dial it back. I'm not going to hold that against her. But it's really the only thing I can come up with right now is that all these other teams are just flush with money, and their fan bases, honestly, are probably more engaged than the Titans fan base is. And so they probably just, honestly, it's more of a budgetary issue than it is a cap issue. And I'm convinced of it right now. And again, I'm not throwing Amy Adams Strunk under the bus here. She spent a lot of money. She's entitled to do what she wants to do. But when you hear Chris Mortensen go there that says, hey, the Rams, the reason the Rams can do these things is because they have the cash. And we know the Rams have the cash because Stan Kroenke is one of the richest owners in the NFL. Arthur Blank, we take a $55 million dead cap charge, so be it. Why? Because we know Arthur Blank's got the money. Jerry Jones has the money. Robert Kraft has the money. Those guys we know that have all this money, they're fine. Convert it to base salary, do whatever we want, we'll do with it. I was thinking about Indianapolis the other day. Every year, it comes down the pipe that Indianapolis has the most cap space in the NFL. Ian, how many years have we been doing this, and it feels like Indianapolis has the most cap space in the NFL?
It feels like at least 3 years in a row almost.
I mean, it feels like every year they have all this cash. I remember one year they went to the playoffs when Andrew Luck was still the quarterback, and Ballard and Reich, and they had all this money, and I was like, oh my God, if they get Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell to go with T.Y. Hilton and Jack Doyle, there may not be any way to stop that team. And they didn't spend any of the money. And the fans were like, why aren't you spending the money? Maybe it's Irsay. Maybe Irsay just doesn't want to spend the money. And the more I think about this, the more I think Amy Adams Strunk, and I am not, again, I don't know what her wealth is. I know this. I know her father was very, very, very wealthy. I know his money got split, I believe, into thirds, where it was her sister Susie, and then the brother who passed away, his family. And so that's a third of Bud Adams' wealth. Now, they all own the team, so I guess they all have money, but who knows how much money they want to spend. And they're going to have to write a huge check next year for Jeffrey Simmons as a signing bonus. They're going to have to write a huge check to A.J. Brown. as far as a signing bonus is concerned. They're going to have to step up to the table when they talk with the Metro government about a stadium, and they're going to have to give some money as part of this deal. Now, they're not going to give a lot of it, but they're going to give some money to this project. Maybe they look at this and they're like, you know what? Got to take a back seat on writing the checks right now. And when you hear Chris Mortensen say that, Mort is never, Mort is too respected inside the league at this point, this age in his life, to just be throwing people under the bus like that and saying, well, they're poor. But I wonder if the Titans have been spending above their means over the last couple of years or over, what they want budgeted. I wonder if they've been doing that. Know they're going to spend above what's budgeted next year, and this year they've said, well, we're not going to blow up the budget. What you can do is you can take money from this year's budget and put it to next year's budget, or you can take money. Forget about the cap. The cap doesn't matter. CAP does not matter. But maybe it's just the cash situation. When Chris Mortensen says that, I think Mort's probably heard something that's like, yeah, Tennessee is trying to cool it. What have I told you? In the next collective bargaining agreement, the poor teams, and I don't know if the Titans are a poor team or not because I don't know how much money Amy Adams-Strunk has. But the poor teams, the teams that don't like spending money. Cincinnati's right up there. And that guy's got money now.
Yeah.
He just don't want to spend it. Bud Adams, for years, he had money. He just didn't want to spend it. And I promise you, Bud Adams would be at the forefront in the next collective bargaining agreement saying, hey, we need to close up all these cap loopholes that teams are getting around because now it's going to start costing me a lot of money. And I don't think he's going to like that. So that the poor teams are going to be up there, the Raiders, that are going to be saying, hey, no. We are not doing this anymore. Just because the Saints can do it doesn't mean we're going to do it. And so you'll have pushback like Tepper, the $15 billion owner of the Panthers. He'll probably be like, no, we should be able to do what we want to do, that kind of stuff. But I think this is about the cash. I don't think this is about the cap. I think it's about the cash.
Do you think willingness also plays a part in this as well?
I mean, I think Amy, from what I've been told, has never said no to anything. As far as when they asked her to redo the cafeteria, she said yes. When they asked her to redo the weight room, she said yes. When they asked her to redo the facility, she said yes.
But doesn't something have to give at some point?
That's my point. That's why I don't hold this against her.
I don't hold it against her by any means.
Like when they asked her to write a big check to Tannehill, she said yes. When they asked her to write a big check again to Tannehill, she said yes. They asked her to write a big check to Julio, she said yes. So I don't hold this against her. But I think this is what we've learned about the NFL is that the salary cap does not exist. It's not real. It doesn't exist. If you can be $70 million in the hole and clear yourself without releasing one player, $80 million, and then add another 30 to it and go out and sign a $40 million quarterback, which is what the Saints are trying to do with Desean Watson, then it's not a real cap. It just is not real. Just because they say it's a cap doesn't make it a cap. A cap means that you actually have to not spend money, and that is not what this is. And so I can see some owners, like the owners are the ones who want the cap because they want to suppress salaries. And so when the other rich owners start screwing around with the rules that allow them to essentially avoid the cap, then the other owners are going to get sick and tired of it. And let's not kid ourselves. You think the Titans make the most money of all these teams in the NFL when it comes to ticket sales and jersey sales and marketing and everything else?
No.
Of course not. So I think that this is why the Titans are where they are. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. TD has his guys that he wants as far as the Titans. I want maybe our thoughts on it and your phone, 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. We are live again from New Heights Brewery. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Every Friday at 8:30 on Robby and Rexrode, we talk with the legend, Terry Chris, about all things Nashville Predators, presented by Copper Branch on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sports betting app you need. Must be 21 and up.
When you cut lawns for a living, reliability matters. The Kubota commercial lineup, with purpose-built mowers like the Z700 Zero-Turn, SZ Stand-On, and W-Series Walk-Behind, decrease downtime and increase productivity. A comprehensive fleet program with special discounts and free loaners helps grow your business one perfectly manicured lawn at a time. Visit your local Kubota dealer today.
Come see why Coleman Tractor Company is one of the largest Kubota dealers in Middle Tennessee, Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and their new location in White House.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. I want to tell you about this new social sports betting app I've been loving called Wager, W-A-G-R. Rather than betting against the house, Wager lets you bet with other people in Tennessee. It can be your friends, co-workers, or even me. As a special promo for ESPN 1025 The Game listeners, if you're over 21, go to wager.me/DMAC, and you'll get free wagers that you can use to challenge me. That's WAGR.me/DMAC. Join me and challenge your community, not the house. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-889-9789 for help.
There's no better place to be on a Saturday night than Smashville. Join us on March 19th to watch your Nashville Predators in action against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Bridgestone Arena is sure to be a party, and you don't want to miss it. Single game tickets are available at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Reserve your seats today to ensure you don't miss the next golden moment. It's your Preds against the Maple Leafs, March 19th, live from Smashville. Hit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to make sure you get a seat. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer Paul.
When he first started, he got a half carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for a carat and a half. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It's that time of year again as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the #1 source for sports betting needs and info. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Well, I would say sign Gerald Everett, one of those level tight ends. I would say see what type of deal Smith-Schuster would require. I would also say go out and get Jeff Wilson from the 49ers. You already got one 49ers back in Trenton Cannon. I'll get another one. Cannon, in my opinion, is going to take over as the return guy. So he fills the return part that you mentioned. So that's what I would do. I would also look at a corner, but I think the better thing to do would be to get corner in the draft.
There you go. That was TD earlier talking about what he would do for the Titans. And I would agree that they got to get a tight end. You know, Gerald Everett's a guy that we have said for 2 years in a row that they need to go get. Gerald Everett, Austin Hooper. TD's big on Juju Smith-Schuster. He kept bringing Juju Smith-Schuster up a lot as a guy the Titans should go get. But does Amy Adams-Struck want to write the check? And I understand if she doesn't. You know, as far as cash spent, now that website Spotrac, whatever it's called, they have like total cash spent. And I think the Titans were in the top 5 of the league last year, like right there with the Rams. And we know how much money the Rams spent. You know, the Rams,
a lot of it.
They spent money on everybody. And so there's a difference between cap and cash. And right now, the cap, you can spend whatever you want. The cap is not real. Let me say that one more time for the people that host the morning show on this station. The salary cap is not real. It doesn't matter. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. real money if you own the team. That's real. Like that is, if I sign a guy and I got to give him a $20 million signing bonus, you got to write a check. Jared Stillman, $20 million signed. So I wonder, Mortensen brought up the fact that, that's why teams want these new stadiums like the Titans is to get that cash flow in there. And I don't think Amy Adams Strunk is trying to hold the Titans back. I don't think Amy Adams Strunk is trying to, defund the football team. I don't think any of that. I just think that they have a budget for the Titans and that the things that we want them to do or that they want themselves to do, just it's not in that budget. And I'm not going to tell her she got to change the budget. Now, I would say this. If we were sitting in a budgetary meeting with the actual CFO of the Titans, which is not Vin Marino. When Joe came on yesterday and started talking about Vin Marino, he sounded so out of touch, like somebody who had never worked in like a real organization before. Because he's sitting there like, no, Vin Marino is the one who manages the money. No, Vin Marino manages the salary cap. There is a chief financial officer. Vin Marino does not care how many hot dogs that they sell at the stadium. Vin Marino, that's not his job. There is a CFO of the Tennessee Titans who looks at a balance sheet, and that person does play a role in it. But I would say this. If you're trying to build a stadium, winning a Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl as you try to build that stadium usually is a big deal. I think Buffalo thinks that right now. As far as their stadium is concerned, it would be a big deal if you're the Titans to go compete for a Super Bowl. Denver got really lucky that their referendum on building their stadium was in between Elway's first Super Bowl win and before Elway's second Super Bowl win. So you were right there at the peak of the sport, right there when you had your people vote on it. I think those things do matter. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Do you have a thought or you want to go to the phones?
To the phones.
Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com.
Well, we talked about this, how a lot of fans might feel out of touch about the owner actually. That's money that comes out of their bank account. And this texter checks in and says, how does an owner's individual wealth play into paying players? Aren't teams limited to a league cap amount?
Oh, no. I don't
think they must be new around here.
I do not. And here's the problem, because a lot, like TD today, like I told TD, like when I was talking to TD didn't mention the cap. Do you notice when he was talking about, they might not want to spend this money there. They might not want to. TD wasn't talking about, well, they got $2 million in cap space, so maybe they could create cap space by doing this. He wasn't talking about that.
He did mention it, not necessarily the cap, but did mention that Fletcher Cox would have been a little bit lofty for the Titans.
Right. And he said, you got Simmons coming up, which means, hey, if I'm spending this amount of money on defensive tackle, but you noticed how.
As a depth piece at defensive
I think
line.
TD has seen what we've seen about the cap. See, here's the thing people don't understand. Basketball was a different sport before the invention of the shot clock and the three-point line, right? Baseball was a different sport before the advent of replay. Now there's a designated hitter in each league. Like that fundamentally changes the game. So stats like National League home runs, they're going to break that record every year for the next 2 or 3 years because they're playing with an extra batter in the lineup. And we'll all just know that that's why they're doing it. The last collective bargaining agreement fundamentally changed how the salary cap works. That collective bargaining agreement went into effect in 2020. And teams had to get creative in 2021 with what was called the COVID cap, where league revenues went down. And so because the league revenues went down, so did the cap. Well, teams learned how it worked. So once they learned how it worked, then they really knew how to take advantage of it. There is no day of reckoning that most the quote-unquote kicking it down the can was. There is no day of reckoning. The Atlanta Falcons for years have been crying poor about their cap situation. Matt Ryan's got the second worst contract in the NFL as far as the cap is concerned. And they said today, hey, if we can get Desean Watson, we're just going to eat the $55 million. But the cash is real. Like, that's real. And so, as I've said many times, the poor teams are going to end this in the next collective bargaining agreement. But while we are operating under this collective bargaining agreement, the teams that want to pay and don't care will pay, and the teams that don't will not. And this is where it all matters that, for instance, teams in New York didn't have any fans in 2020. Teams in San Francisco didn't have any fans. Dallas, come on in. That does make a difference. Sponsorship agreements. Being a corporate sponsor of the Cowboys or the Steelers is different than being a corporate sponsor of the Arizona Cardinals. And that is a factor. What else we got?
Another texter checks in and says, if the Titans are short on cash, then they should trade Derrick Henry for picks and plan for down the road.
That's tough. How do you sell that to a fan base that just had the number 1 seed, felt like their Super Bowl was stolen from them by their quarterback? How do you sell that to people to say, okay, hey, Titan fans, stick with us. We're about to ask you to build us a $1.2 billion stadium. Stick with us, but we're trading Derrick Henry for picks.
And you want to build a new stadium?
Yeah, I mean, here's the tough part the Titans are in. Buffalo's not. Buffalo is a bona fide competitor for the Super Bowl. They got rich owners, and where I think that it may go to a referendum in Buffalo, it's not going to go to a public vote here, but it may go to a vote in Buffalo. But what they have is they've got Josh Allen. So the hope for them would be that Josh Allen carries them to a Super Bowl. That pushes the, overwhelming, popularity of the Bills to, oh my God, we can't lose the Bills. They get a deal done with the city, and then because they have Josh Allen and they still have a good team, they sell a bunch of PSLs. For the Titans, if they were to open a new stadium, you would need to be good now so that the public would be on your side when all that happens. And then you would need them to be good when you get ready to open the stadium if you're going to try to sell PSLs, because if you're running out Ryan Tannehill or you had 4 losing seasons in a row, this market is so fickle. We are the most fair weather fan base out there. You know it. I know it. We all know it. You lose and you try to open up a new stadium, nobody in town's buying a PSL. And now they don't have any money because that's where they're getting all their money from. So that would, if I'm the Titans, there's a lot of risk that is, as far as real life things that they have to buy, that it's not just phony baloney league money of, convert signing bonus to this and you're fine. And the more I look into why the Titans aren't doing anything, and then you hear Chris Mortensen kind of say, look what the Rams did, but they have the money, it makes me think, Amy spent a lot of money. Amy's planning to spend a lot of money. The one thing that Amy has proven to me as owner of the Titans, you know what? I'll get to that next, and your phones, and we'll give away Preds tickets. We are live. Again, Amy's proved something to me. We'll get to that next. We are live here at New Heights Brewing Company out here downtown. Again, we'll be here tomorrow from 2 to 6 as well. So come on out and say what's up. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. I love Hiller. They're giving away free vacations for you and your family this month. With every purchase of a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems, Hiller is giving you a free week-long vacation. With every purchase of a new tankless water heater, Hiller is giving you a free weekend vacation. And they're giving you a Visa Rewards card to help pay for gas to get you there. Choose from over 400 Marriott, Wyndham, Hilton, or Hyatt hotel properties. Take advantage of this unbelievable deal while you can, because these deals are only available for a limited time, so schedule today. Visit happyhiller.com for all of the details. As always, happy you'll be or the service is free. Hiller's got to be happy because the Predators are winning. The Vols won today. Vanderbilt in the NIT, and they're proud supporters of all of them. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey Nashville, it's Jared, and there's a new go-to for home furnishing. Social Furniture on the West Side is independently home-owned furniture store in Nashville. Forget the big box stores. Shop local, shop social. They have all the best brand mattresses, sofas, recliners, love seats, sectionals, coffee tables, and more with no waiting. They will deliver it the same day. That's with everything at Social Furniture. Enjoy new furniture now with no waiting. Shop local, shop social. 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road, and tell them Jared Stillman sent you.
The Metal Gods return. Judas Priest, 50 heavy metal years. The Priest. This Wednesday night, Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Vengeance will be theirs with special guest Queensryche. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Judas Priest. Live.
You know when you're getting a good deal and when you're getting ripped off. And big brand razors are not a good deal. In fact, Big Razor spends millions on marketing to make you believe they've got something special. They don't, but you've been paying for it anyway. Harry's was founded to cut the crap and give you a square deal, a quality shave at a fair price. And to back it up, they've got a no-risk offer for you. Go to harrys.com and get their starter set. It includes a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover. It's a $13 value, all for just $3 when you use promo code 4070 at checkout. It's 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't love it, no biggie. If you do, then refill blades start as low as $2, so there's no gotcha. Remember, harrys.com and enter promo code 4070 at checkout. That's promo code 4070 at checkout.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right. You'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, and so much more. The team that I take a big chance on, I feel pretty good about Kentucky in this year's tournament. You know, it's hard for me to say as a Louisville guy. Plus, with cash out, the ball is in your court, so you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is even over. Join FanDuel with the promo code JGM, and then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. Promo code JGM on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older in present Tennessee, first online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable site credit expires in 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Last season ended and you had a second to kind of reassess and you get out your notepad and write down things like what could I have done better? What's on that list?
Yeah, that's what keeps me up at night is the trust that ownership has put in me, our fans, and I mean that stadium was rocking now. And you can only imagine what it would have been like the next week. So, pretty long list of stuff that I got to be better at.
There you go. That was John Robinson talking about ownership. And again, Ian, if you could, the Chris Mortensen clip from Darren Donick and Chase talking about how you maneuver the cap, how you screw with it, free agency, why the Titans aren't. Here was what Chris Mortensen said on Darren Donick and Chase.
Here's what's interesting. It's one of the reasons why the Rams can do what they do and what have you. Cash is important to be able to pull this off. You have to be a cash-rich team. I'm talking about, and believe it or not, even though everybody's making money, nobody's losing money. If your ownership group has a lot of cash, you can do the things I'm talking about, converting the base salary to a signing bonus, which would go immediately to the player, because you have the cash flow to do it. And that's one reason why I would say, and I don't even know if the Titans are a good example, but that's, that's why it's important to build a new stadium. To get your cash flow up and generate that type of cash so that maybe you can restructure more contracts or take some of his base salary, turn it into signing bonus. Peyton Manning with the Colts, everybody thought, well, he took maximum. No, he had it automatically, and Napoleon wrote the contract up. He had it automatically, but the club could exercise whenever it wanted to convert his base salary to roster bonuses or signing bonuses. I forget what it was, so that it would not take a big hit against the cap in the particular year that the Colts wanted to lower it.
How nice of Peyton, by the way, to allow the Indianapolis Colts to automatically give him his money up front.
That's like it was very nice of Kevin Byard to offer up taking the money up front in order to make room for Harold Landry. Thank you so much for your sacrifices.
You are just so.
I appreciate that.
So here's the thing I know about Amy Adams-Strong. That is that I know that she knows what she doesn't know. That when she got thrusted into the ownership spot, she went out and got Steve Underwood and basically said, Steve, you're in charge of the team. And Amy has done all the things that an owner has to do. She's engaged with fans. She has really done a good job of focusing on, the Oilers and making sure that they know that they have a team that even though it's not in Houston anymore, that they are represented by. She has always, when she has to say, she's done things. Amy's been a good owner of the Titans in the 6 years she's been the owner. And I trust her. And I've been told, that the Titans, when they needed a new cafeteria, Amy did it. When they wanted a new weight room, Amy did it. When they wanted, Amy did it. Well, Amy also probably has somebody who manages the finances of the team. And my guess is that you don't have to ask her for more money, and she's laid out the budget. When they've put out the budget and said, hey, this is how much money we have. And that it's like, hey, if you borrow from next year's budget for this year's budget, then you don't go to her right now and say, we can get this tight end or this wide receiver. We can get Juju Smith-Schuster right now if we can just raise the budget. You know better than that. Because they say, hey, this is the budget.
But also, are you in a vicious cycle of, not spending, bringing in guys who are less than thrilling, maybe not putting out the best possible product onto the field?
Right, like if the
people
Titans
stop buying
this year,
tickets, people stop buying
right.
jerseys, people stop buying into the team, and the value of your team goes down. I can only imagine how much money the Titans made in that one playoff game.
And how much money would they have made if they had a second one?
Exactly.
Now, what's interesting about this, about like the playoff games and the money and the things like that, what I find to be very interesting is that the reason the Oilers wanted to move out of the Dome and move into a new stadium and ultimately ended up moving here is because the way it was at the time, and I don't know if it's still this way, the NFL, the ticket sales were split amongst the teams except suites and club level seats. And so that's why they charge the most for those, because the teams keep that. So I don't know how playoff gate affects that. I don't know what the rules are for that. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Aiden is up next on the quarterback. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Aiden.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, guys. I'm really curious what the ownership is thinking about our quarterback position. Are we just going to be mediocre at best with Ryan Tannehill for the next couple of years? Do we look to draft a quarterback? Let me know what you guys would like to see in the coming future.
Thank you for your call, Aiden. I have, and I'm going to do this tomorrow. So remind me to do this tomorrow. If when I send out the grid tomorrow and it's not on there, remind me.
I will.
I have a cockamamie theory that is even a little wild for me.
Oh, boy.
But it's a theory. Well, okay, but
we're open to theories on this show.
If somebody had said in 2019 that their theory was Tom Brady was going to be the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, people would think that you were crazy.
Probably so.
So sometimes, cockamamie theories, they got to work out. And I've got a cockamamie theory to answer Aiden's question that could be, it involves some tampering and it would involve some foresight. And I've already tried this on somebody who wouldn't say is in the know, but definitely knows a lot more than I do. And they already told me I was crazy.
Well, we've said a lot of crazy things
but
on this show.
I will share.
I say
that
we,
tomorrow.
I mean you.
Because it is, but if it happens, oh my God. What do we have in the text line?
Michael from Missouri texts in and says, I'm inclined to think that Jared is onto something with the Titans setting a budget, but I still don't understand what they've done. I like Harold Landry, but what's the point of having two high-priced edge rushers if the team can't afford an average starter at left guard, right tackle, wide receiver, and tight end?
Because if you're not good at offense, but you're incredible at defense, you got a chance.
Defense wins championships.
I do think there is a line of thinking here for the Titans, and I don't know what the hell they're thinking at right tackle. My gut is that they think that either Brewer or Radens will play left guard. So they'll have Taylor Lewan, at left tackle, Brewer or Radens at left guard, Ben Jones at center, Nate Davis at right guard, and I have no idea what the Titans' plan at tackle is, and I'm not even going to try to figure it out. But I think that there's probably a part of them that thinks that they can get back to the playoffs running the football with Derrick Henry and playing really good defense. And I believe that they will play really good defense next year. So that, I think, is the point of 2 edge rushers. I would pay 2 edge rushers before I'd pay a linebacker, before I'd pay a safety, I want pass rushers. I want pass rushers, I want tackles, and I want a quarterback. Everything else I could have, not have. A number 1 receiver is always really important, but, I want pass rushers, tackles, and quarterbacks. What's next?
One texter texts in and says, if you're going for it, why go cheap now? Which goes back to my theory that if they don't think they're going for it, then they're not going to spend.
Well, this is the question. Let's say you own the team. Here's the thing about owning a team in the NFL. That really owning any business, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be realistic. Like, you have to be able to look at what you've got and say, it's not good enough. And you know how I feel about Tannehill. If I owned the team, Tannehill would not be, we would have been doing what Denver did to try to woo Aaron Rodgers because I'm done with Tannehill. Well, what are the Titans supposed to do? Like, Amy's not going to get out there and say, I don't believe in this team.
But I think there's a difference between going cheap and doing what the Titans are doing right now. Because you can go out there and find a cheap tight end, a serviceable starting tight end.
Sure.
You can go out there and find, a right tackle fairly on the cheap.
I think they might be waiting for the last.
Done it.
I think they're waiting for, like, the last guy. Like, I think they plan to sign the tight end at veteran minimum. They plan to sign the right tackle. Like, they want David Quessenberry to not find $2 million in the market and then bring him back for $1 million.
Maybe so.
Like, that's what I think their plan is. I don't think it's a good plan, but that's what I think their plan is.
That is kind of scary.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's give away some Preds tickets. Plus, there is a Preds thought that I have. A very interesting Preds thought. By the way, can we just address something for a second?
Sure.
TD's really big on Juju Smith-Schuster. Do you have a feeling on that one way or another?
I don't really care. I lean against Juju Smith-Schuster, but I think that's just because I don't like him.
I am against Juju Smith-Schuster too, but I would take Juju Smith-Schuster right now.
Yeah, I think that's
I would
fair.
not have taken Juju
desperate.
Smith-Schuster a week ago. I would take Juju Smith-Schuster right now.
Yeah.
So, speaking of money, there is a Preds situation, which, by the way, Crispy normally joins us at 4:30, but Crispy is on his way to Philadelphia, where the people of Philadelphia will say goodbye to Terrence Arthur Crisp tonight at the game. Shout out to Crispy.
Shout out to Crispy.
Shout out to Crispy. Now, but there's a money element that I think is right then and there, and I get a little worried. But we'll get to that coming up next. Right here, Stillman and Company, and we'll give away Preds tickets. That's next. Right here from New Heights Brewing, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
Strong to severe thunderstorms will be possible for Friday, mainly in the afternoon and evening, but will pick up heavy rain even Friday morning. Damaging winds and a few tornadoes possible. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
It's that time of year again as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the #1 source for sports betting needs and info. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people, it takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
It's Markdown Madness at Electronic Express. Bring the tournament to your living room with 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Markdown Madness is going on now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Mark Howard here. You've heard me talk about my friends at Apple Collision Centers for a while now, and today I'm here with CEO Stan Harrison to tell you about how they can help ease your stress with your auto body repair.
That's right, Mark. We have 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Our people are homegrown right here in Middle Tennessee with over 75 years experience. We can help with all your auto body repair needs.
So stop by and see Stan and his team today and tell them Mark sent you, or visit them online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Jim Gaffigan Live in the Fun Tour.
When you have kids, you lie to them all the time. You're like, you wouldn't like this ice cream. It's very spicy.
March 30th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down. Ooh.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year 1?
Wake up and hang out with Robby and Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, we are live at New Heights Brewing Company. And so David Poyle was on with the midday show like he does every week, and they were asking him about Philip Forsberg's contract. And David Poyle had an interesting, non-answer. He's got like 3 days now. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, deadline's Monday. I don't foresee them trading Philip Forsberg.
I don't either, not at this point.
I talked to somebody who I trust that told me that they don't even think trading him is on the table. And they think that David is, well, right now.
But like before.
Well, I mean,
has it been on the table?
Well,
because at this point, I don't
that.
think it's.
I asked yesterday, are they going to trade him? Is that a possibility? And I was told that they didn't think it was a possibility.
I don't think it is this late in the game.
So why not?
I mean, if you haven't gotten an offer for him yet that has been attractive,
but
are you going to get one in the next 48 hours?
Well, but if you call and you're like, hey, you got 48 hours, give me your best deal. I mean, that's like when everybody has to give you their best deal, like you're probably going to get their best deal. Deadline spurs actions. But I think if they were going to get started on that, they would have needed to get started on it like yesterday. But again, who I talked to it wasn't like I talked to Poyle about this, but it is just interesting for me as I try to kind of follow this about, what's what and what they may do. But I think they're going to end up signing a deal they don't like. That's just my theory on it. This was Poyle talking about it on Darren Donick and Chase. Oh, I guess we don't have that. Anywho, he basically just said, I want to sign him, but that he doesn't have an update. The one thing that I worry about, first of all, I don't begrudge Philip Forsberg at all for going for the bag. And it's weird because I think a lot of times, like, people have these, like, player side feels and these owner side feels where it's like, Freddie Freeman wanted a lot of money from the Braves, and the Braves didn't want to pay it because they wanted to give it to more people, and they got somebody younger, and they gave him money, and they gave him a lot less money, and whatever. People are like, they're cheap. And then there's times where it's like,
it's a business.
How dare this guy hold out? And you'll always hear people that always take the side of the players that'll be like, oh, I'll never, get on somebody for getting paid or something like that. I mean, the city of Nashville, Hal Gill lost his mind the other day. We were talking to him about how they still boo Ryan Suter. And I get it. Like, I get both sides of it because I was a fan. And Ryan Suter left and took all that money. And I understand why they boo him. I think it's probably a little silly, but I get it. But Philip Forsberg has made his intentions, in my opinion, obvious from day one. He's going for the bag. Like, he has not, he said, hey, he played his 6 years that he signed for, never complained, made a decent salary, came in this year, said, I'm going for the bag, went for the bag, and is performing for the bag.
Performed at the level to get a bag.
And so if he gets the bag, I don't have any beef with him. But I don't think there is a solution that ultimately is pro-Preds any way you slice it. I don't think trading him at this point in the season, given where they are, I don't think that's pro-Preds. I don't think that I don't think that extending him for the money that he's going to want, for the years he's going to want, for the terms he's going to want, for the performance he's going to give you for that money.
And it feels inevitable that it'll be 8 years.
Oh, yeah, it'll be 8 years, and I think it'll be
between 8 and 10 million.
I mean, I think that it'll be Yossi-ish. You know, like, I think it'll be
9.5.
Yeah, like, I don't know if the Predators are going to get what they want about keeping it less than Yossi. I don't think they're going to do that. And
no movement clause?
I don't know. I mean, I think he can kind of get whatever he wants. And then, you know, if they don't sign him after the deadline, oh, dear God. You know, then everyone's going to be holding their rear ends in free agency, and that's really not going to be pro-Preds if they get knocked out in the second round of the playoffs and Philip Forsberg departs and they get nothing in return. So
that is the absolute worst scenario in my book.
And that's where I feel like they are. Now let's give away a pair of tickets. Be the first person. We'll just give it first caller to Ian, 615-737-1025. And you will see the Predators taking on the Ottawa Senators at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, March 29th, 615-737-1025. It is time now for Predators Game Day.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Desean. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by Pella Windows and Doors. Early start time, 6 o'clock tonight in Philadelphia, taking on the Flyers. The Predators are 35-21-4. That's good for 74 points. The Philadelphia Flyers, they suck. 18-30-11. That's good for 47 points. They suck.
Not great.
By the way, here's the Boohoo Ryan Ellis crew, by the way, to all the people for all the years, led by Hal Gill, of all people, that I said, but when Ellis's contract came up, I was like, they have got to do something about, they got to move on. They got to get the prospects. Don't give him the money. And Hal was like, you don't understand the game. You don't know. And Twitter was like, get him, Hal, get him. Yes, educate him on this. And I could not stand the fact that Ryan Ellis was on the Predators, and he did nothing. And I got dragged into a bunch of bullcrap because of it. And all of a sudden, after his doing nothing for years and getting ragdolled by Jamie Benn, the Predators got rid of him this year. They got nothing in return for him. Fair. They got nothing in return. He's been hurt all year for Philadelphia, so he hasn't helped them at all. And the Predators are in the exact same spot that they were last year, with or without him. He doesn't matter. Just like to say that as they play the Flyers, who have 47 points. Time now for John Hines on these terrible Flyers.
Well, what we've talked with our group about is really, being consistent. We have a clear identity of how we want to play. We know the game that gives us the best chance to win, regardless of who we play. And now it's putting that in and night out, period to period, shift to shift, and really trying to get a ton of consistency in the way that we play, in the style of game that gives us the best chance to win. And I think when we do that and we put that game on the ice, that's when we're at our best. And it's going to take our best to beat Philly, and also to have a good stretch run down here and try to make sure that we get in the playoffs.
You know what my favorite thing about that was? John Hines never talked about Philadelphia in that. And this was the typical, hey, we know that this is the way that we have to play in order to be successful. This is the way we want to play in order to be successful. This is what we have to do to be successful. And this is what we have to do tonight against Philadelphia, to not go out there and lose a game that we should win, because they should win this game. It's like John Hines knows. He's like leveling with us now. Like, hey, we know what we have to do to beat Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is 18-30-11, and they freaking suck. And they've lost 3 games in a row. They lost to Montreal, who is awful, in their last game in overtime. I mean, they are terrible. They are a terrible team. End of story. Tonight should be a win. There should not be a question about it when they play at 6 o'clock tonight. Looking at the standings, boy, Colorado, I don't even know if these guys ever lose. 91 points for Colorado.
Jeez.
St. Louis has 76, Minnesota 74. The Predators have 74. They're in 4th place. And with 74, Dallas has 2 games in hand, but the Predators are a solid 7 points ahead. So you want to keep your space on Dallas in what I call the race for 4th place. Now, they've got Minnesota has a game in hand. St. Louis has a game in hand. So the Predators are 2 points behind St. Louis. St. Louis has a game in hand. But they're tied with Minnesota. Minnesota, though, with a game in hand. So, we'll see how this all shakes out. But you got to beat the bad teams and then just kind of play the rest of the stretch. It's tough to want to be 4th place because 3rd place, 2nd place, it's so the margin is so small between them. And you don't want to tell the team, like, hey, guys, go out there and lose. Like, you don't want to do that. But, again, 4th place against Calgary should be where they want to be. Did you see what Callie Arncroat got traded for, by the way? A 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th?
I did.
It'd be nice for the Predators to have. But they decided to keep him and not sell at the deadline last year. So I'm just complaining now. Hey, shout out to New Heights Brewery for having us out here today. We are so thankful to them, and we will be back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Enjoy your brackets. Enjoy the Preds tonight. Stillman and Company, pregame Darren.